Sequels. They could be good, they could be bad, that's the chance. But what is it that makes something a sequel really? Is it the continuation of the story and the same characters from the previous film? Doesn't have to be. Blair Witch is one of the most successful films of all time, and it had a sequel in name only. If you remember Blair Witch, there's really not much to continue, but you gotta milk that cash cow, right? Sometimes there's an existing theme or thread that continues into a sequel minus the original characters. This happens a lot in horror movies, which is ironically what Blair Witch is. Hellraiser sequels sometimes barely even have anything to do with the only one real connection that there is, Pinhead.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
And those sequels weren't actually even sequels. They were completely their own scripts. Then an executive said, we can do more business if we use a recognized name for our movie. Shoe in Pinhead, and now it's a Hellraiser sequel.
It could be good, it could be bad. That's the chance.
And we're not going to even get into American Pie Presents or any National Lampoon movies. Holy Jeebus. Save me, Jeebus! So even though we expect and want a movie sequel to be more of the adventure that we witnessed previously, that's not always the case. It's easier to trick your audience using a known quantity than pay the money it might take to make a real sequel. Or you land in the world of remakes, reboots, soft reboots, prequels, side stories, etc. Sometimes you get an actual sequel, and they're successful, but then you just pump those out until you mash the shit down into dust. I'm looking at you, Alien Resurrection. Speaking of Alien, that's why we're here today, to talk about Alien Romulus. It's a sequel, I guess. Me and this guy over here are going to discuss all that and more. Let's head to the couch.
Could be good, could be bad.
This video, this discussion we're about to have right now, is not a review of the movie. It really is just us talking for like 2 hours about on a couch about the Alien franchise and what we think about it.
Like we used to do
Yeah.
when you were living, and we would watch a movie and then we turn it off and then you and I would about that movie for
and
like
we'd
hours.
wake up our roommate because we're talking at 2 in the morning about Passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a rambling, like a very long. So if you really just want to listen to just us talk.
Or watch this and complain about it, because this is America. Go for it.
But if this is really if you want to hear Ryan and Kyle talk, this is what it's going to be. It's just us talking without you guys even, like, I kind of forget the cameras in the
You've been warmed.
Yeah.
You've been warmed.
So, but if you just want to hear us babble on about Alien and the Alien franchise and how it's all connected, strap in.
Hey. Okay.
Hey.
Hi.
We're on the couch.
We are.
We're talking about a thing.
I'm on one side of it, and you're on the other side.
I might be. There hasn't been proven yet. Science doesn't know the answer to that one, okay? There's a lot of doubt in the community. We are important people. We are very important people.
Speaking of community.
What?
Well, you said community.
Oh, yeah, I did, huh? What are we?
We are minor actors on the Alien community stage of fandom.
Like 500 view important.
Yeah.
Yeah, right around there.
It's something. Minor.
So, I don't really want to be here, and I don't think you do either at this point, but I know you guys.
Look, I say the same thing I said the last couple times. I haven't talked to you about Alien Romulus yet. You are my friend. We like talking about these things, and so we might as well do it on camera.
Because people do want to know what we thought about it. Because we'd like to, we're not sitting here and go, oh, I like it, or I don't like it, here's why it's good. We like to analyze. We like to explain to people why it's good or bad.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Because we're right or wrong. There's no like or dislike. It's either bad or it's good. And the reason why I can say this is because I'm going to prove to you why it's good or bad. I'm not just going to say my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm going to give scientific evidence behind it.
Yeah.
You're like the science of getting black goo out of an alien.
Beat me into submission with your points and logic.
There is no skip to this moment to avoid spoilers because
the whole thing is going to be a spoiler.
You wouldn't be watching this if you hadn't seen the movie, right? So who cares? Unless you want to.
It's not a review. I mean, we're going to be reviewing, but it's not. Don't come to this to find out, should I go see Alien Romulus? We're going to talk about Alien Romulus.
Yeah. And also, in the broader scheme of the Alien universe, and obviously we've covered the Aliens comic books and Predator comic books.
Oh, speaking of comic books, just before this, in case we lose track, hey, by the way, I own a comic book store, and if you have a comic book store nearby you, don't forget to go check out Aliens versus Avengers.
Do you want to go put it close in front of the camera?
Actually, I know how crass that sounds.
Look at that.
Like, of course, like an Aliens versus Avengers crossover is so stupid. But let me just tell you, take my word for it. Jonathan Hickman, one of the hottest writers in comics. Asad Rabiq, also one of the best artists. These guys working together. These are not people that you're Marvel and you say, hey, you guys are going to do.
Talk to them, not me.
I'm trying to convince you also.
Oh, you know, I don't care.
These are not people that if you're Marvel, you say, hey, you guys are going to do an Aliens Avengers crossover. They only do this if they really want to. So Jonathan Hickman wanting to do this means he probably is a pretty big Alien fan and wants to, like, he has a story he wants to tell. That's all I want to say.
Who isn't an Alien fan? And like,
yeah,
that's into like nerd culture.
But I was
right?
saying today, I was talking, like, Hickman's a really smart guy, and it's like, God, I just wish he was in the room right now. Like, talk to him and be like, what did you think about Romulus? Let's talk about Prometheus.
Come sit on my couch in this weirdly lit, blankets everywhere environment and talk about a movie with us.
There was my
important person.
My very obvious plug to maybe get a couple of people to buy a comic book.
Also, I saw the price on that.
Oh,
not cheap.
Would you stop it?
It's not cheap.
It's just a couple bucks. For somebody who's spent all that time in that artwork.
I'm not saying it's overpriced. I'm saying
We're getting off topic now.
we're talking about aliens.
We're talking about aliens.
You know, before this movie came out, people were already like, so you guys going to talk about Alien when it comes out, right? And it's like, yeah, probably, because we do this like 3 times a year maybe, you know? And as time got closer to release, I got really fucking busy at work and at home, and your store got broken into, which I don't know if people on the Twitter and I don't know, maybe we talked about it, but Ryan's store got broken into.
3rd time.
And so I went into his store and we put in a whole new security system.
Thank you, Kyle.
7 new cameras, had to rewire half the store. And it's not even fully done yet, but we've been busy, extremely busy. So I didn't get to see the movie until, was it a week later? It's been out for over a week now.
You saw it pretty fast.
Oh, I actually was able to see it that weekend.
Because it only came out this past weekend.
I left work early on a Monday and saw it at like 3 p.m., and that worked out. And when I got out of the theater, I immediately texted Ryan, oh, we're talking about this fucking movie.
Which I said, I guess I'm the good cop and you'll be the bad cop, but I don't think that's exactly what you meant.
I watched the Red Letter Media half in the bag on it.
I was really hoping you watched it
afterwards. No, I'm not going to watch a review beforehand. I saw the movie first. But
because I watched that and I was like, oh God, as soon as Kyle watches this.
I am not as cynical as they are with everything.
They're pretty, like, just toasted, jaded.
Yeah. And I might hate things or not like things, but I'm still not that as much as they are. With that said, I did like what Mike mentions, like the first 30 minutes, the first like half, I was pleasantly happy with it. And it's not that the second half was bad. It's that the second half had me go, I need to talk about this. Because there are things that are just, you know? So,
keep in mind, you know my bladder. So I had to get up 3 or 4 times during the movie. You meant
like right now.
So there's things that I'm actually, maybe you can help me fill in some blanks too. But there might be some things I don't know what I missed.
But we went and saw a Hong Kong action movie at a theater near us as well, and that was a terrible experience because it was too loud. I had to wear earplugs the entire movie, and the previews that didn't start until well past the time it's supposed to start. Then there were ads in between the movie trailer previews. I walked into Alien Romulus. The movie had started about 30 seconds before I got there. I was like, sweet, walked right into the movie. But it was so goddamn dark, I could not find a seat. Not my seat, because there was like 10 people in the theater. I was literally in the aisle going like this.
Wait, what theater did you go to?
Harkins.
Really? They're usually pretty good over there.
No, it was so dark in the beginning, and my eyes, I had been out in the sun. It was like 98 degrees that day, right? So it was bright out there. I came in, and my eyes had not adjusted, and I was in an aisle, and I was feeling around for the armrest to see where the seats were, and I was like, I couldn't find anything. I was like, if someone could see me, I'm floundering. Like, I had to stand in the aisle for a good like minute for my eyes to kind of like...
Because you are a legitimately decent human being that will not take his phone out and turn the light on.
Right. I tried to do it like without turning the flashlight. I turned on the screen, and it was not bright enough to see anything. So I was like, oh, I'll just wait a little bit. And then I kind of moved seats, and then I moved seats, then I moved seats again because I couldn't tell where anyone was. But you were talking about decent human beings. The guy who was 2 seats next to me, he was a decent human being. I'm pretty sure he fell asleep during the movie. His phone would go off.
Oh.
And beep, beep, beep. That's, not like a ring.
Yeah.
But the flashlight would blink.
Huh.
Some people have it set up to like blink when they get a text message, right?
Oh, okay.
Puts it down. And 10, 15 minutes later, it does it again. It happens like another 10 minutes later. It's like, ugh. He's mad.
What's this noise that he's making?
He's anger or frustration that his phone is
You mean
going
that's
off.
actually a noise that he's making, not just your interpretation of his feelings?
No, yeah, he was literally like, it's like, ugh. Like, why is someone texting me right now?
Just turn your phone off!
Turn your fucking phone off! Put it on silent. Wait, how are you mad? Turn your phone off.
I even tell Jessica.
I'm yelling and the microphone's
my
like
wife.
crazy.
You put your phone in your pocket. It's on vibrate, okay? And it's like,
Or that.
what if it's something that's really important? Listen to me. You can call me. I'm in the movie. I'm not going to answer the first time. If you keep calling me and my phone just keeps vibrating, I'm going to know that it's important. I got to get up.
But if you text me, you say it's an emergency. I will read it. Well,
No, I will not read the text message.
Well, see, usually I have my phone on my lap because I'm just so scared of everything disappearing ever. But it was in my little pocket, so I wouldn't have seen it either.
Everybody has their own little things. For me, if it's an emergency, you have to call me like 2 or 3 times.
Right. Yeah, but that makes sense.
And then I go, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm leaving. Alien Romulus.
Sorry, it just making me think about what happened a couple weeks before. My son got a concussion, hitting his head on the concrete.
There's a lot of things
and that
going
was
on.
a call of like, you need to come home right now. We need to go to the hospital. So it's like it's all coming back to me. The first thing I take. Okay, before we got, what did you think about the movie?
I thought it was pretty good.
I'm going to drink water. While you talk, and you're going to watch me. Drink water.
hate fan service. I feel like just as much as you do.
Got
I
it.
feel like I do.
Okay.
I don't like fan service.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate fan service?
10.
35.
Okay. However, I'm also an adult that knows the way that the world is. So I went in like I wanted to enjoy this movie as much as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And so I spent all day priming my brain to deal with fan service. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. There were some bad ones.
So the question there is that, or the thought there is that you can have fan service, but it has to be done tastefully.
It's also not for me. Like I think even tasteful fan service, I'm kind of like, I don't care.
I guess it begs the question: who is it for? If you have to be someone...
because fan service does work on a lot of people. They don't like to. Nobody wants to admit that, but people like fan service. They like it.
Okay, put it this way:
They wouldn't do it otherwise.
I haven't watched an Avengers movie. I was gonna say in theaters, but I actually didn't watch. Did I see Endgame or like whatever the end of the first phase was? I might have seen it. I probably saw it in theaters. So I was like, yay! I don't really care that much, but I like this, And then I don't give a shit about any of it. I've watched maybe I watched like the Eternals and Doctor Strange 2, whatever. I watched that. I haven't watched any Marvel shit really. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm totally burnt out. Who cares? And I never cared that much in the beginning. These are fine, fun movies. But you say, hey, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. I might go see that movie because
that's fan service.
That's fan service. But the thing is, because I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I enjoy him and his performance. Yeah. I don't give a shit about.
But the guys in the folks that are really into the Marvel stuff, some of them are like,
and I
exactly,
get it,
right?
But it's not for them. It's to get people back in the seats because nobody gives a shit anymore.
My wife thought the Ash thing was cool.
I was thinking.
Well,
like
just
Ash.
Spoilers. We're just talking about it.
I thought you meant like Evil Dead. Like Ash is in Marvel now. Like what?
Ash the android. I didn't.
Can you slap her for me?
I didn't vehemently. She's not. She's a civilian.
But even if you liked it, it looked bad.
Yeah,
it was like watching The Irishman.
So I had a thought. I'm trying to be like.
Again, we're supposed to just say what do we like, if we like the movie or not, and get into it.
I know. I liked it.
This is all preface, I guess.
I tell you, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I was very surprised to see the black goo come back and to see the engineer shit come back. So that being said, I didn't hate that or necessarily, but it made me really want to go back and revisit. So I did. I rewatched Prometheus.
How many times do you think you've seen Prometheus Covenant?
Prometheus I've seen quite a few times.
Okay.
Covenant, this is my only third viewing.
Okay, because I think when the Blu-rays came out,
I was obsessed with Prometheus when it came out.
Yeah, like I watched it numerous times.
The deleted scenes, multiple times. What if I watch it this time? Will I notice something?
I'm not saying I loved it, but I was definitely watching it again and again.
No, I was obsessed with it. I also don't know if I would say I'd love it. I actually say that I'd love it now.
I haven't had a chance. Just you now. With that said, he went and watched them again after this.
Well, I was just going to say for ranking, just to kind of wrap this up. So, Romulus is second to last for me.
Of all of them?
Yes.
Which is last being
Resurrection.
Okay, let me just say this, though, about Resurrection.
But that doesn't mean that... Because even Resurrection... Resurrection I've been allowing into my heart over the years.
It's a terrible movie.
I think it's a really fun space pirate monster movie.
Yes. But it's a terrible movie.
It's a terrible alien movie.
It's a weird alien movie.
It's a weird alien movie.
And it's a bad movie on its own, but it's schlocky and fun. But Alien Resurrection crawled so Prometheus could walk and then Covenant could run. Because if you didn't have Resurrection, you have Ash, you have Bishop, you have Call, then you have David. If Resurrection didn't happen, instead of having David, you would have had, like, Carrie.
Yeah, but they fucked it up because in Covenant, his name's Walter.
That one decided it didn't matter.
I was like, why did you ruin it? And then I was looking forward to in Romulus that it to be like an F, like a Frank or something.
Right?
Or an E, yeah.
I was just thinking, like, his name was...
Edward. I don't know. I don't remember his name, and I feel bad because he was my favorite part.
The android.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, give him an Oscar.
He was really
never
good.
cast him in another movie again because I'll never see him anything but that. No, actually, I saw him behind the scenes, and he... I could see him acting. Like, they very made him look a certain way, and if I saw him in another role, I probably wouldn't even recognize him necessarily. Ryan,
as a almost 40-year-old man, is getting more and more... my standards are getting lower and lower.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the other way around. My standards are getting higher and higher.
I know that. For you.
I don't like
For me, it's the opposite. I'm enjoying more things the older I get and becoming less critical.
Do you think it's not... Because when you say that, you mean horror movies?
I mean everything.
Okay, because you watch a lot of, like, old 70s... Like,
that's part of it.
And I think that those things are... It's not that your standards are lower, is that you're finding things that you like
The question then at the end of the thing is, like, did I like more things that I disliked?
You could like bad B movies. It doesn't make them good movies.
I'm not here to tell you. I would never tell you that it's a good movie.
And it doesn't mean your standards are lower. It means that you enjoy... I love God of Gamblers.
I like...
I know it's not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. My standards aren't lower.
It's pretty good.
It's doing something that I like.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
But you would never go running around telling everybody that's the best movie ever made. I mean, you would say it's the best movie ever made, but you wouldn't... It wouldn't mean the same thing.
Remember, there's a difference between liking something and it being good.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean your standards have lowered because it's bad. It's just that it's doing something you like.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Like, objectively, Alien is, in fact, the best movie. But most people's favorites is Aliens.
Actually not.
I'm just kidding. I'm trying to... I don't want to start a fight.
Alien seems like the biggest fan pleaser that everyone remembers, but every time like someone talks about something on the internet, it's always like, oh, Alien's this, Alien this. And I'm like, really? It doesn't seem like a lot of people actually have the patience to sit through a quiet burner of a movie that one is.
Aliens?
Alien.
Oh, yeah.
Because Aliens is a pleasing, fun...
No, Alien is a...
But it seems like everyone's
deliberate.
Like, Alien's the scariest movie. I love my favorite movie, The Alien. You know?
No, not until the end.
I'm surprised by that. Or people are just catering to, like, when you say, like, who's your favorite rappers? It's like Tupac and Biggie. It's like, yeah, they were good, but really, is it because they died and they didn't actually have a huge library to go through? Or are you just jumping on the bandwagon? It's like, yeah, they were really good, but, like, not really the best.
I mean, I really don't want to, like...
Right.
I was just being funny.
I get it, but I'm saying that, like, people sometimes elevate something because they feel like they have to say that, because that's the one. But if you ask them, well, which one do you actually want to watch? Like, I want to watch Alien.
Alien. No, the first one.
And I don't care either way. It
depends on my environment and what I'm doing. Like, if you're just going to put something on...
How many times have you watched Alien this year?
I haven't watched it this year.
How many times have you watched Aliens this year?
I haven't watched it this year.
Okay, see, if you asked that question to me, granted the 4Ks came out, the 4K Blu-rays.
I try to save them up because they're special to me. Like, I don't want to...
I've watched Aliens like 3 times this year.
Yeah.
And actually maybe 4, because I watched it when the 4K Blu-ray came out, and then I just watched it again for some weird reason. Then I watched it with my kids.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of comes on
different.
sometimes.
It just comes on, yeah. Also, you and I are very different. You like going and just going back to the well.
Yes.
And I typically prefer to, like, be shown something new.
But I will say this. As a younger man, I liked Alien, obviously.
Yeah.
But I didn't appreciate it till I was almost 40.
Yeah.
And I watched it recently. Not recently, like last month, but like in the last year. I was like, man, this is fucking really good. But I still like Aliens more because it's funner.
So I have a point here. So what I'm trying to say is
we are just rambling.
I know. So what I'm saying when I'm watching Romulus, the mindset that I'm in, I'm trying to put myself in, is obviously it's an alien film. Obviously, it's not like Prometheus where it's like pretending not to be an alien film or something like that. It's an alien film.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to just say this is a big budget science fiction horror film and pretend that I don't know all those other movies and stuff. And just like Fede Alvarez made a $80 million science fiction horror film. I'm just going to try to watch it as that. And in that regard, I thought it was pretty good. If this was not related to Alien or anything like that, it was just a robot, scary monsters, I would be like, fuck yeah, dude, I can't believe this came out this summer. This is awesome.
Because it would probably also be lacking the things that we didn't like about it.
Right.
Because
true.
it wouldn't have to tie itself to stuff.
I don't even know anything about Fede Alvarez, but just based on the fact that, like...
Well, you've seen, like, Evil Dead.
I mean, like, him as a person. Like,
but
I'll
say this. He's a fucking idiot. He thought Ripley was only floating around for 40 years between Alien and Aliens.
Did he mess that up?
Messed it. He was like, it's been 20 years this movie, then another 20 years, so she's found. And it's 60 years. Even I know that.
I think he's happy to have the career that he has, and he's not like somebody that's like, I'm an auteur, fuck you.
I'm a what?
Auteur.
Oh.
I'm not saying that he's not, but I don't think he has that kind of an ego. So when Ridley Scott says, like, I bet you Fede Alvarez would be happy, would have been thrilled, and may have even been, that's my guess, who knows?
If you took all the Hollywood directors that have made, like, not big budget, but, like, release in theaters, tens of millions of dollar budget, if you line them up and you just threw a rock into one of them, I'm guarantee you any one of you is going to go, I would love to make an Alien movie.
No, of course not.
You have your Neil Blomkamp.
No, I'm sure, but I'm saying that, like, left to his own devices, I bet you he did want to make something that was just, like, completely not trying to be, and then here come the producers, here come Ridley Scott.
Here comes a drunk old man.
And he's like, no, Ash, let's make it Ash. That would be hot. The audience would like that. Oh, let's do this. Oh, let's do this because it feels like this movie. And we're going to do kind of a pastiche where we'll have all these things. Like, we're going to have all these British people because that'll remind me of Alien 3. Yeah, and then we're going to have a weird alien Xeno baby monster thing just like in Resurrection. And we're going to have the pulse rifles. Everybody loves the pulse rifles from Aliens. We're going to do that.
Do you think they said, like, take all the movies and write on note cards
sort of
significant things from every movie on a wall and go, you got 7 darts.
Kind of.
Throw them in. Whatever we pick, we have to write into the script.
Of course, I'm being really cynical, but I also...
Why would you ever look at Resurrection for something you should...
I don't know. Just to, like, bring them all in. And you got Prometheus in there, too. So...
Remember when the trailer came out? I said, remember Alien? Remember Aliens?
You're right. You were right. But it wasn't as much that as I thought it was going to be.
No, what I meant by that was I was surprised that I was able to actually say, remember every single movie. It wasn't like, okay, we're making another Alien and Aliens. We're going to kind of like maybe mix the two, be horror like Alien, but like maybe have more than one alien.
Yeah.
It was every single fucking movie had to be represented.
I mean, I hate to be I don't like it when people are like, hey, it could always be worse, but I'm going to be that guy. Like, you could have had a queen, didn't get a queen. You could have had a power loader, didn't get a power loader. You could have had, again, there's a lot of stuff.
You only got 7 darts, or however many it was. Like you didn't get to pick what you wanted.
There were some more subtle darts. I'm just saying.
You had to throw the dart, and whatever it landed on, you had to put in. You didn't get the thing. You didn't get the power loader.
I appreciated all the practical effects. Okay. I appreciated the sets, some fucking like actual legit science fiction sets, and some really pretty cinematography.
So it's your second to last, and you rate it.
That always makes it sound like I hate it, but I love this franchise. It's my favorite science fiction franchise. So
I mean, how many really good science fiction franchises are there?
Well, there are Star Wars and Star Trek. Star Wars and Star Trek. Carl?
Okay, when you said science fiction, I guess I was thinking science fiction.
That was my video. I mean, everybody's always Star Trek, Star Wars, Star Trek, Star Wars. And I'm like, okay, what about Alien?
I guess I was thinking like science fiction horror.
I would actually say that Planet of the Apes has the best track record of any science fiction franchise as a whole. It has the best overall grade. That being said, there you go.
Okay, so you liked it.
I liked it. With reservations.
With reservations.
And I also feel like it's a movie that'll grow on me, much like Alien movies grow on me over time when I watch them more.
Okay. I will say, because it's always fun to start with the good cop, and then you go to me, who's just like a cynical asshole who doesn't actually hate everything. Because
I don't even have the impression that you hate this. I'm just waiting to hear what you have to say.
Right. Or I do that thing too where it's like, yeah, I liked it, but I fucking hated all these things about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And not even like, I didn't need, like, I hated this, I hated that, I hated it, but I still enjoyed. I mean, I've never watched the Transformers movies. I've seen them in the background at someone's house, and I'm like, these seem like the biggest piles of shit in the history of cinema. Like, I would never fucking watch this, right?
They are.
But I could see something that I don't even like that much. I could just see, like, oh, I'm just watching it. Yeah. It's fine. I'm not going to go watch National Treasure, ever. that means I think you're garbage. Everyone hates Rush Hour movies. I still like the first 2 Rush Hour movies. I'll watch them. I got nothing against them. You know, never watch the third one though because I'm not interested anymore. You killed it, whatever. So that said, it's not a bad movie. There's things I like about it, but the things that I don't like about it drag me so far from being able to like congratulate it.
No, I wouldn't.
But the things that it did good should be a fucking testament that what Hollywood is missing.
Yeah.
Everyone in Hollywood should. I wished this movie was an A+.
Yeah.
You know, grade A USDA steak.
Yeah.
Just prime rib beauty. But instead, it was a pork chop with a lot of fat on the edges that needed to be trimmed. And even when you cut the trim off, you're still like chewing and chewing. You're like, God, man, it looked really good on the plate.
Well, you said you like the first 30 minutes. You read out the red letter.
I just kind of like.
No, I know that, but I felt the same way. I think like the first half to me was better than the second half.
Well, okay. What I was gonna go with what Kennedy said. I think having practical effects, like even if this movie's not good, it's good because it looks better than any major Hollywood. I don't give a shit if you put $300 million movie.
Yeah, look great.
This movie looks better than yours.
Yeah.
The horror is pretty much there.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
I thought it was going to be grosser, to be honest, with Fetty
I was
Alvarez.
surprised by how gross it was.
I thought it was going to be grosser.
I didn't think we were going to get Evil Dead levels of like blood rain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
but,
not even the worst part of that movie, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
there's some really fucked up shit in the Evil Dead remake.
Is it bloody though? Other than the blood rain at the end, a lot of it feels
it's more than just it feels. You feel it like.
I mean, like the nails.
Hard to watch.
The nail gun, like.
I just didn't really feel like there was much in Romulus that I was like having difficulty like.
Oh yeah,
watching.
No, it wasn't gory, but it was slimy and disgusting.
Yeah, of course. But I like all that. You know? Yeah, it should be all those things.
Talk for a second. I need to look something up.
Sure. I want to talk about the android. He's great. Another really good talking point here. All the androids are great, except for Winona Ryder. She's kind of whatever. But like,
you're done talking.
Okay.
I have a complaint that this is not just this movie. Here's me, a white guy on the internet, telling about what I don't like in a podcast. Stop making movies with young casts. I fucking hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so fucking much. I hate it so much. Okay, they need to be kids. Fine. Stop making movies with young casts. And I say young, they might be 20. The cast is all between like 23 and 27. I looked it up. They all look like they're 17 to 20.
Nobody looks like Harry Dean Stanton.
No one looks like Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver was 30 years old, 29 years old, right? She just looks the same for her whole entire life. That's amazing. But those guys were aged mechanics. They were just wrinkly and old and dirty. These look like a bunch of kids where you got dirt and went like this.
Yeah.
Go get dirty.
Yeah.
Stop it. Kids are not as good actors as adults.
Yeah.
I mean, adults.
They just, even if they are, like, they just don't have the experience.
They don't have gravitas.
Yeah.
They don't have any weight to what they do. It feels like I'm watching let's make a movie for Gen Z.
Yeah.
And no one in Gen Z is going to go fucking see it.
Yeah.
No one young goes to the movie. I don't even go to the movie theater. I'm 40. And I go to like 2 movies a year. Kids, young people, they go to horror movies, which this is a horror movie, but they go to Paranormal Activity. They go to fucking Boo, that kind of bullshit in theaters. They don't care about Alien. They don't.
That's why they kind of had to make a movie that was, I mean, I don't know. Like, this movie wasn't for, well, I mean, it was.
Okay, but let's say this. The movie's making money.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. It's doing, I
thought it was doing okay.
Well, in today's landscape,
yeah, sure.
Right? It's doing a thing
where... So it's an $80 million budget. That means that with marketing, probably actually $160 million.
There's a lot of marketing. I'll tell you this.
Well, they usually just say like double the budget. That's how you get
I know, but this is one of those
budget.
cases where you actually did see... you did see a lot of advertisements out there. Compared to some things you're like, I didn't even know that movie was out.
When I went... Oh, were you with me? What was it? Were you with me when we saw people with facehuggers on them? No, I was. Yeah. It was with you.
That was when we went to go see Twilight of the Warriors.
That's right. When we went to go see that kung fu movie, there was motherfuckers. There was actors.
It's not a kung fu movie. It's a martial arts movie.
Martial arts movie.
Even though there was kung fu in it, though.
Why can't I call it a kung fu movie?
I guess because it was like modern.
It's a kung fu movie.
Well, that's for me to make a video.
All right, we won't do it. But they had people in the lobby that had facehuggers.
Worldwide, it has grossed $124 million at this point.
So it's not there yet.
It's actually made more internationally, but no, I mean, for a movie that was starting out on Hulu, for a movie that was,
Can we just really quick? And somebody said this was a weird comparison, but I didn't think so. Since this was supposed to be a Hulu film,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. But I'm just going to say it was then. This Prey was better.
Yeah.
I mean, like, no contest, right?
Okay, so...
Like, I was talking to somebody else about that. I was just like, they're like, well, why are you even comparing them? Like, well, they had crossovers, for God's sakes. And they were both these Hulu films and these Fox kind of things. And there were these, like, kind of interesting side steps. Not, you know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah. They're not direct sequels.
Right.
Like,
so they have, to me, they had a lot in common. But I'm just saying at the end of the day, again, like, I liked it. But I'm not here, like, Prey was a better movie.
Yeah. Yes, Prey was... Okay, so why are old video games good? And new video games can be really just like, meh, I don't care anymore, right?
I don't know if I agree with your premise, but go ahead.
I mean, there are new video games that are good, obviously. But, like, why do people have, like...
I don't play enough video games anymore to answer this question.
I know,
so.
but, like, you go back and go, like, what makes an old game still playable 20, 30 years later? Whereas, like, are you really going to go back in 20 years from now play, like, God of War on...
I'll play Resident Evil 4.
It's a good example.
It's like riding, because it's like riding a bike.
It's like riding a bike, but it has the good loop because you have limitations, right? So when you have limitations like a Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, you have to make things that are very basic because you can't make the world. You have to make something that's space, right? So you make Prey, you go budget, setting, keep it limited. We can't do all these fantastical things. We have some CGI to have a bear get ripped in half or whatever it was, or thing, but we can't do a lot. We have to do practical stuff. Alien Romulus, a lot of practical. Then it gets into a little too much of whatever. But those limitations are what make a good filmmaker focus on the things that they're good at, rather than going, you can have everything. Well, if you have everything, Marvel movie, nothing's good because it's all the time. It's always something happening, right? Robert Downey Jr. does Iron Man is limited in scope. Let's focus on him as an actor. You make the one Scarlett Johansson, the Black Widow, it's just explosions and kung fu, right? It's like you need to limit yourself because limiting yourself can let your art show through. This movie versus Prey lets its art show through a little bit more. This one makes it more of a general audience movie, if that makes sense. So that's why I think Prey is better, because it knows what it's doing and it doesn't have the world at its fingertips. Not that this one did, but it had a little bit more. I mean, goddamn, this thing had sets, this thing had ships, all kind of miniatures, all like if you watch the behind the scenes, which I gotta admit, I don't know the final compositing of this, but like when the ship wants to go dock with the station, everyone has Disney has those now big LED screens they shoot in front of, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like sort of like the Mandalorian, stuff like that. It's like, you put a character on a little basic set, and then you have the big screen behind them. It's not a green screen. It's a picture of what you're showing. And what it does is that you also get the color of that reflecting on the character, so it makes the character look like they're really there. Whereas a green screen doesn't give you the same kind of...
Yeah.
You just get light, right?
Okay.
They shot the model ships, which are like the size of this couch, pretty big. They put those in front of those screens, smoke effects, lighting, flashing, and a green kind of like, big ass light that kind of has some space look to it, and sparks, and they're doing all this stuff, and they're shooting the camera over the whole of this miniature with the real background.
It's pretty cool.
It looks fucking good. I want to say it's what like Interstellar did. It's why Interstellar looks so goddamn good, because it's not just a fake. I mean, Interstellar, they would take a thing and they had a light, they would spin it around so it looks like the sun's going around, right? It looks real. I didn't notice that. So now when I go back and watch this eventually one day, I want to see when the camera's over the ship, does it look like a CGI ship? Because I felt like it was a CGI ship the whole time. But maybe now I'm thinking like, I'm so jaded that I didn't even notice that it looked real.
We watched Last of Us, and they had the giraffes near the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you told me
these
this.
fake-ass giraffes. And then, pretty quickly in short order, it was like, nope, those were real giraffes.
Can I just make can we have a discussion about how, CG has destroyed that we even think we can't tell things are real or not anymore?
Yeah.
And it's not that CG's gotten so good that you can't tell it's fake. Is that I don't even think things that are real look real anymore, because everything is so manipulated.
Yeah.
For example, Ash. It looks so bad.
He doesn't look good.
Yeah. So, man, we haven't even started talking about the movie. Like, we are still just going on and on.
It's not a review.
Yeah, you're right.
We're just talking about it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, and then this happened, and then this happened.
I know, but we're talking about what happens in the movie, like that, whatever. So, I liked it, but this is where, and this is kind of like what I like to do, I feel like what I'm good at, but if you gave me, here's $100 million, make a movie. I don't really know where to, I mean, okay, let me think about it, right? But if you said, here's something that somebody else wrote, here's $1 million. Make sure it's going to make me $100 million. I'd be like, okay, get rid of this, get rid of this, expand this. Like, I can see the parts that don't need to be there. I'm a good editor. I mean, I edit video, and I'm not even that good at it, but whatever. I'm toot my own horn, much like that. But what I do at work for a living is I troubleshoot. I find the problem, and I either get rid of it or I fix it. It's what I do. I come into someone else's situation. I had to set up all these lights and these cameras. I'm fucking bad at it. But if it was already halfway done when I got here, I'd be like, I can finish it for you. I don't know if it's Ridley Scott. I don't know if someone needed to edit this before it was shot. Before the script was done, someone needed to be like...
It's kind of fairly lean to me, so I'm curious what you
2
think.
hours?
But that's not that long these days.
What was that last act? Okay, so Fede Alvarez, he likes 4-act movies. He likes the movie to think it's over, and then go, oh, by the way, there's another 17, 18 minutes left.
Well, that's because Alien was a 4-act movie in that sense.
Evil Dead did it.
Aliens did it, too. It's literally like all of them.
But they did it in a way that you kind of didn't think it was coming. You expected it. When she got back on the ship, I mean, the fact that she injected herself, you already knew something else was going to happen, right?
True.
It wasn't a surprise.
That's true. That was not a surprise.
You're pandering. You're just like, oh, they did it. I'm going to do it. You didn't surprise me. I just like, now what's going to... Now, you surprised me. I had no fucking clue that thing was going to be the thing we were going to do.
Yeah, the actual surprise was the creature itself.
Yes.
Like, I was just like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy, and I think I like it.
I was like, is it Slender Man?
It's like...
And then I saw it when it gets into frame. Oh, wait, whoa, okay, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're mixing all the things,
Yeah.
right? But that's where I'm like, it's weird. Like, I watch a movie and I kind of forget what I saw and have to really think about it.
I have a question. Remember I said I had to go to the bathroom a bunch? This is one of those questions.
Okay.
Did that creepy monster... What do we got to call it something? Just the creepy monster at the end. The baby monster. The baby that's not big. The big baby.
The Xeno...
The Xeno baby.
Xenogear?
Xeno baby gear.
No, Xenogear. It's an engineer.
Xenogear.
Yeah,
Xenogear. Did the Xenogear suck the titties of the mom?
No, he was eating her.
Okay. Somebody said something about that, and I was like, well... The Romulus Remus thing, and then there's literally there's a painting there, and then there's one of the kids suckling the thing, and the camera lingers on that, so that's why.
Maybe, but when she stumbles upon them, it looks like he's doing like a vampire.
He wasn't trying to do like a breastfeeding,
because she was like this, thing. And he was like here.
Okay,
and it looked like he was
I think I'm.
But you bring up a really good point.
Yeah.
So and it would make more sense what you said, but I don't think that's probably too graphic. Like that's too much for a movie, right?
But that's kind of where I thought. Again, Fede Alvarez, I was like, what do we... But he made a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
It's a Hollywood movie.
I think he made a movie. And I don't mean that in it's a movie. It's a full-on movie, and it's not a cheap movie. Again, I want to commend special effects. That's better than anything else it's better than the movie itself.
Yeah.
Some of the parts are not better than the whole. The whole is not that great, but actually, in this part, the parts are better than the whole. But you can't gestate.
Oh, I mean, where are we
we'll
even
get to there.
So I read a little bit. I mean, what do you even? You have to accept one of two things.
Wait,
or
okay,
both
I don't want to get there yet. I want to go not chronological, but okay, let's start off with we have a young cast. This is where I go. This is where it kind of bugs me. So their parents became minors. They grew up on this fucking planet. They're like indentured servitude. They can't get off, right? How are they learning how to fly fucking spaceships and do all these things? Yet they don't seem to have any weapons. They don't seem to know how to do anything. Like, it's a little excessive.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I try to take that as that's the way somebody would probably feel about you and me. If they were...
I could probably fly a spaceship, but...
you're not you. Me?
You could not fly a spaceship.
Because I can drive a car.
Spaceship.
I can drive a car, and if somebody from the horse and buggy days saw me driving my car, they might be like, he's operating a fucking high-tech vehicle.
Yeah.
But to me, in my world, it's not a high-tech vehicle.
It's not that it's high. It's just that they don't seem like they were actually mechanically inclined. They didn't seem like they were actually knew what they were doing.
I felt like they were fairly confident about what they were doing with the pods and how they needed this and that.
I guess that's my thing is they seemed like they just knew everything, and they don't. How you guys don't? You're not. What do you do here? I don't know. Now you might just go, wave it away, and they grew up here, they know how to do it. But then she has never been to space.
Yeah.
They call them space versions, right?
Yeah.
She knows how to fucking operate the vehicle at the end. She's like pushing the buttons on it, and I'm like, how would she know? She doesn't know how to go to space. That kind of bugged me where it's just like, I don't know. Okay, I wanted them to be more mechanically inclined. I wanted to have your guys like, yeah, I do all the shit on here. Like, when you watch The Abyss, but the Ed Harris's ex-wife, like she's like, I built this, I designed the whole thing. I'm like, that's a lot for one person to do, regardless if you're a man or a woman. That's a lot of things. But like, okay, they established it. She knows this thing, and she knows it very well. These just seem like kids on a ship, and they're like experts, like experts. Okay, I don't see it. And what, besides the pilot, what do the other ones do that makes them? Okay, whatever. I know I'm picking.
No. I'm mulling over what you're saying.
I'm nitpicking, but again, when you watch the original Alien, those people seem like they know that ship. They're bored. They've been in here. They're doing all these things. These are like happy-go-lucky kids that are, well, I mean, in her situation, she's got a fucked up life, but these other kids seem like, yeah, I've lost my parents, but I have a spaceship.
Yeah.
I'm riding not high, but like I'm not in the mines.
I would agree that that's one of the it's definitely one of the things that's not good about it.
Yeah, and I guess like I said, I'm nitpicking because it's not that important. It just goes back to hire better actors. Not that they're bad actors, but they just don't feel right.
Yeah, it's just like British guys yelling and stuff. I don't know. Neither my wife or I cared for anybody really, other than I like the main girl. She was from Civil War. I liked her in that.
See, here you talk about Civil War, which I have not watched yet. I've been wanting to for a long time. But like you talk about Jesse Plemons. For Civil War,
They should have put Jesse Plemons in this movie.
He's in Breaking Bad, the bad whatever. He's the kind of person you put on screen and you're like, I'm fucking scared of him.
Yeah.
Or when he's being nice, you're like, I don't trust him.
Yeah. Poor Jesse Plemons.
He plays it, but that's the thing is, the truth of it is he's such a good actor.
Yeah.
Someone like him comes in there, I can imagine him not chewing up the scenery like a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's like focused as like my character can do these things, and I'm going to show it to you that I can do these things. These just walk in here like, no, push buttons, I'm winning, But I guess the point is that doesn't matter. It's not the point of the story.
Yeah.
Watch the movie, and you're just being a fucking old person, whatever.
Again, so...
But that's how you make a classic movie that lasts the test of time versus we made $200 million in the box office, but it's a flash in the pan and no one cares.
Yeah, but everything's a collaboration, including with the studio that has the purse strings. So they just... Prometheus... Covenant was fucking expensive. I just saw the budget on...
Good actors.
And I was going to say that pretty much Ridley Scott sounds like he's kind of just doing what he wants. So if he wants to hire Danny McBride and fucking, this guy and that guy...
Noomi Rapace.
Yeah.
Fassbender.
Actually, I was going to say that...
I
was about to give Ridley Scott a bunch of credit, but now that I'm thinking about it, I want to take it back. Because, Shaw's husband... I forget his name, but, Shaw's husband...
Pierce, what's his name? The actor. Plays Weyland.
Yeah, I know. I'm like...
Guy Pearce?
Pierce Brosnan. Nope.
Guy Pearce. I mean, but I mean that is that not only are these, pretty much big-name celebrity actors, they're also good actors.
Yeah, but you also have the guy that's like Tom Hardy, but not... And... He feels like he doesn't belong in that movie, in Prometheus. Shaw's husband, lover,
the guy from Upgrade.
Yes, which I loved him in Upgrade.
I loved him in Upgrade.
Perfectly casted in Upgrade. Yeah. So, but I don't like him in Prometheus, and part of it was it's just like he feels like a young person that doesn't belong here.
He feels like a hot shot.
Yeah,
and he doesn't Well, but again, he's not a mechanical person. He's like, I'm just a guy who studies things.
I have worked him into my headcanon, where now I love him.
See how everybody else...
that was my reaction to him the first time. I'm like, this guy doesn't feel like he belongs out here.
And I understand what you mean, because everyone else feels like they have a job and they're good at it, whatever. Yeah. Covenant, all of them feel really like this is wheat.
Yeah.
He's an older actor.
Yeah.
When you watch
and they had younger actors too, but they're not as interesting.
Hulu, the Shogun, you get
I haven't seen
Sonata's obviously a big time, but you get they're gravitas. They're very serious. And it doesn't have to be a serious thing. It's just that they have something that young actors don't have.
Get that cast from Eternal or Sunshine. No, what was it called?
Sunshine.
Yeah, it's great.
Chris Evans is young, but he seems like
we get that cast in this movie.
Could you imagine though?
Yeah, I know.
Again, you go back to Alien and Aliens. It's a classic movie because it feels. Okay, I will give the credit to this movie. I like that this felt more like Alien and Aliens because it had that grunge. Space. It's not okay. I was going to ask you, Prometheus, when they're in the ships and they're doing stuff.
Yeah. So now
technologies don't match up at all.
Right, and then that was a complaint, right? Just like the Star Wars prequels, it was the same thing.
It's yes, that's what it was. I couldn't think of it. Yeah.
But then they would clap back and be like, "Well, this ship is like the super yacht of the universe, right? Like it's different, and you guys, we've always seen just like the bullshit dregs of whatever."
Yeah.
Which I can buy, But doesn't matter. It's still you deciding what the aesthetic is, right?
Yeah.
And man, that aesthetic, that grungy alien aesthetic,
But
it's so good.
it wasn't as grunge as Alien. You know what I mean? It was a little cleaner. I'll tell you this, they got a lot of use out of that one hallway, that curved hallway.
Yeah, you mentioned that, but I have to watch it again to notice what you're saying. But
I get it.
Yeah.
You don't have when you make a movie that has tunnels
yeah.
or air ducts.
Yeah.
You build a couple,
Yeah.
and you have to shoot them from every direction you can to make
Yeah.
it, and it looks fine. I don't care. I'm just joking that that's like they got to build that one part, but they built a lot of sets. They built the ship on a gimbal, so they actually moved. I cannot give them enough credit. Even the actors were like, you come to work and you have all these real things to actually act off of. And I'll say this, as much as I don't like the young cast and I can't understand their fucking accents and movie theater should have subtitles now.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Give me the option. Give me special glasses, the 3D glasses that when I wear them, I see subtitles but nobody else sees them. I couldn't understand anything they were saying. And this is like, in the theater and you can't, whatever. But like, no, 50% of the dialogue for the first 20 minutes or so, I had no idea what they were saying. I would hear half the sentence and be like, I kind of fill it in my brain, which is what language actually does. Your brain kind of fills in. That's why, if you write a paragraph and you misspace the letters, but you have the first two letters the same, whatever, like you can still read it. It was kind of like that. Like I was kind of picking it up, but I wasn't hearing what they were saying. And I hate shit like that because I know I'm going to miss something important.
Quick sidebar.
You probably went pee.
No. So when I watched Covenant, I watched it with, I wasn't at first. I don't want to watch with subtitles if I don't have to.
They do studies. 30% of Americans watch subtitles all the time.
Yeah.
I'm one of them.
Well, don't people say that it's also like modern sound mixing is awful and you should be able to hear people better than you can? I mean, okay, I don't want to change the subject.
I've seen,
We're changing the subject.
No. I've watched those videos. People talk about that stuff, and I do agree. It could be because we have things like 5-point run. We used to be like center channel, dialogue only. It's music. Go watch an old movie. There's a lot less music, and when there is music, it's under. I will say one of the things I did not like about this movie, especially the second half, the music was so in your face. You can't have tension when there's blah, 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 like the loud sounds of scary. No, the tension comes from, I'm standing here in a hallway. They're coming. I hear them. But you have loud, blaring, orchestral, scary music, and it's not tension. It's just, I'm wincing because it's just so much.
So I do think this movie is more actual aliens than Alien.
Yes.
And in that sense, but it wasn't like full on like military gung ho, whatever. We're obviously like we ended up with like 2 rifles or something in the whole movie.
When Ripley is taking Newt out of the den, there's no music.
We had that part too, by the way.
There's no music.
We have to go back. I have to go back and get.
But there's no music.
Yes.
You have 5 minutes for
right. People are like, oh, Aliens, that's the action one. It does. Yes.
When it's taken off into orbit, that's
Yeah.
when the music's crescendoing,
Yes.
right? There's no music when she's down there.
Yeah.
It's tension
all
the time.
Yeah. The movie did lack tension quite a bit.
And I thought it had it. It's just that it didn't know how to utilize it.
Yeah. Which is surprising.
That thing being birthed out of the uterus.
Yeah.
That was good tension, but it was
nothing close to
ramping. It was ramping, and I'm like, let it play out.
I mean, I just watched it, but compare that to the cesarean scene in Prometheus, it's not even close. Like that
I don't remember what happens in it. I don't remember what happens, but like, are you talking about music and stuff?
All of it. I'm just saying it's an insanely effective scene.
Okay, so it wasn't like the music is loud there.
No, it's still like to this day, like you're like, fuck, that's like a banger. Like that is such a good scene. But I mean, I also want to give the movie credit for the anti-gravity stuff. I thought was pretty.
Okay, I'll tell you this.
Oh, no.
So besides I saw it in a regular theater. I didn't go to see the IMAX or Cine XL or anything like that. Like, I don't mean actual IMAX, like digital IMAX. My first complaint was I might be spoiled that I've been watching on OLED TV for the past 4 years now. I think that the screen in a theater projector, it had a light layer of gray. It didn't feel dark enough. And at the same time, it felt too dark. So what I meant by that is like, the characters should be, like you get HDR at home now on a 4K TV, the characters will pop and you will get blacks, like where it's actually supposed to be black, especially like Interstellar, things that are dark in space. This felt like it was like, oh, this is like an LED TV where it can't display the blacks all the way. So there's always like, the lowest level you'll get is like a gray. You've crushed the blacks. There's no definition in there, and it's not even black anymore, it's gray. And I felt like I was watching going, it's not bright enough. The screen doesn't have any pop to it. But also, the space isn't black. It's too bright. So I had a little... I won't know until the 4K Blu-ray comes out and I can see it at home if it's just one of those things where they didn't invest the time in that, or it's like I saw it in a theater and the theater just didn't have the...
I can't follow you enough with this stuff, you know, because it's just not my...
I get technical, but it's just one of those things where we had talked off screen, or maybe we were talking about this before, or no, we were how like things look like CGI when they're not.
Yeah.
Things look out of slightly, just a hair. They're out of focus. They're too soft. And it's to make things look prettier, but when they're not in focus, they look a little bit blurry. Mm-hmm. And what does that little bit of blurry look like? Ash, Irishman.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite look real, because if I saw a real human being, I would see the pores on their skin. I would see the definition. Everything was just a little, and this isn't like Zack Snyder shooting Army of the Dead, where it's like, this is in focus, but everything else is blurry. Everything was just a smidge too soft. And that kills a movie. Go watch Alien. Alien is sharp as fuck. Yeah. It's like a knife. It is Ginsu cutting through an aluminum can. You know, it is so detailed and sharp, and this was so soft. And maybe I'm weird that, like, this is one of those things where if someone explains it to you, you go, oh, I understand. I had a feeling, but I didn't quite get it before. This is one of those things where that's what it is. You don't feel the hardness in it. Everything just feels too soft.
Yeah.
And when you have that, you don't have the gravitas again.
It was... I would like to know the...
And I don't know the technical reasons why.
I'm thinking of Ash again. So in Alien 3, we take Bishop and we bring him back.
You can push his head there, and then the scene cuts, and you can tell it's not the same scene as
that's
before.
from the first movie.
Ash from the first movie.
That cut you're talking about
but you go,
is from
it's
the first
fine,
movie.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's an old movie, whatever. But no, in Alien 3, it looks pretty fucking good. But I mean, my point is that it's not Lance Henriksen, it's an animatronic.
You can tell.
That's what I was going to say,
and you don't
right?
care.
But it's still fucking cool. But it's cooler than CGI.
It's supposed to be an animatronic because it's actually an android.
Yeah.
It's not a person. It should look like that.
But they did so much animatronic stuff. Like, why didn't they do that? You know? Like, what was it about? Why was it so important? They could have had him so damaged and, like, jacked up and stuff. You wouldn't have even worried so much about, like, the likeness.
100% agree. It's a lot of work. And surprisingly, like, I saw the amount of animatronics that the facehuggers were old school, like, guy with a thing and the closing, and they actually had facehuggers that are on wheels. So the inside pocket, when you breathe, the breathing part, underneath those, it's a wheel, and they're zooming around on the floor.
Yeah, I saw that.
All practical, right?
Yeah,
it's super good puppetry.
Cool.
You could make a person.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. You don't want to make a person. You, by paying money to the estate and paying some VFX artists, maybe whatever, to make it look bad, you robbed an actor of a paying job. He could have come in, been any old android, any old working Joe. Could have been Alien Isolation. The working Joes, they have no face feature, right? They're just kind of like crash test dummies. You could have had anything on there. It would have been fine. Why did you just hire a guy? Even hire a guy that looks kind of like Ash. Make him kind of look like... Just give it a reason. That's where you go, callbacks. It's not Ash. Just kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
It makes you think about him. No, we had to literally just go, let me beat you over the head with this frying pan and let you know this is Ash. You know, like... You take something that's good, him grabbing her, I jumped. It got me. I thought he was out of it. You know, that was cool. But you just didn't need that. And it ruins every scene he's in. It ruins it.
It didn't bother me that much. I think I'm just jaded. I'm jaded in the other way.
So let me ask the question, though. It didn't bother you that much. But if it wasn't that, and it was just an actor...
I would always want that. Listen, right? Again, that's what I was trying to articulate at the beginning of our video. I want all the same things you want. It's just more degrees to which I deal with the things that you know what I'm saying?
And I do that thing where I go, had you have done this thing, if you had written it this way or done this thing, it didn't cost you any more money. If anything, it probably cost you less money, the way I'm telling you to do it. And it's more effective. Why do you choose to do the bad thing?
I don't know.
This is what I get mad about movies. Nothing gets made in
on the same level though. People, I remember they complained they put Guy Pearce in old man makeup.
Right.
Why didn't you just cast an old fucking man? Well, then you saw there were all these other scenes where like Guy Pearce was playing like younger versions of Weyland. And I would have typically agreed with everybody. I thought it was kind of funky and the makeup didn't. I wasn't sure.
I mean, I guess because if you if there was no young Guy Pearce, then sure.
Well, they cut those scenes out of the original one, out of Prometheus. There's more young scenes of Weyland.
I know there's more that were actually advertisements for the movie. His TED Talk.
Just watching Covenant and that opening scene between Guy Pearce. Again, it's been a while since you watched it, probably, but the opening scene between Guy Pearce and Michael Fassbender and David is so good.
Yeah,
and I can't imagine it as anybody else's Guy Pearce now at this point. So it's like.
But when I went into Prometheus, I knew Guy Pearce was Weyland.
Yeah.
So seeing him in old man makeup just made sense to me.
I don't know.
But if you'd only had an old man, you're like, why just hire an old man? Like, that makes sense. I get it. But
we used to do that. We used to be a country.
We used to be a country.
I watched the League of the
We hired old people.
Remember?
Right.
Yeah. You know who plays old Gina Davis? I don't know. Not Gina Davis. But you know what? My wife and I said to each other, I'm like, they did an amazing job casting these older versions of these characters.
You know who played old Matt Damon in Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Matt Damon. Anyway.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Romulus. So there's going to be a Remus.
Shut up.
No, literally, they said there's another space station called Remus. Romulus is one of 2 space stations.
Well, no, it was 2 halves and a whole. It even said on the station that's drifting, it says Romulus, Remus when it's crashing.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel bad. Like that again. Like I say, nothing gets made in life. No phones get made. No comic. Every single thing. That's why people don't see how the world works. Like until you've actually had a real job and you've been in the world and you've seen that, everything has to be decided. Nothing just happens by happenstance. Someone had to make the choice to do that. And someone could have, a bean counter could be like, I could save us $25,000 if we just hired a guy, right? It made more sense to hire an actor. It got someone a job. It would have looked better. It would have served all its purposes. Who's your editor? Why are you letting Ridley just run away? He's just over here drinking rum and Bacardi and going, spend my money out, like.
He's so just fuck you to everybody that I kind of have to
give the money
to
Mad Max.
No shit.
What's his face?
George Miller?
George Miller. I was going to say Richard.
What do you mean? What?
You give him the money. What does he do with it? He's like, I'm going to make all this shit.
Yeah.
So you give it to Ridley and he's like, what can I fucking do with it that I.
So again, because I was going to say something about that. Just to put things in perspective, I liked Romulus. I'm not pressing it on anybody. I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Furiosa pissed me off that people didn't go see that. Like,
okay, I haven't watched it yet.
I was mad. Like, I thought this was great.
So, I'm mad? I'm mad because I see things and I go, had you addressed these 5 things, this movie would have been stellar.
Yeah.
But it's not even like, hey, my suggestions cost $30 million. It was, no, mine cost less. It would have saved you money. And that's what just bugs me. Get away from here, you bitch.
So, just really quickly. For fan service, that's the worst one for me.
Yeah, everyone agrees. Everyone agrees.
It's so bad. And again, this is me. I'm forgiving everything. Like, it was so. You could have just so easily had the shitty British guy that didn't like him because his mom died in a thing because of an android be calling him bitch the whole time or something. He did.
So in the Red Letter Media review, Jay actually pointed out he actually called him a bitch a couple times.
All right, I don't hate that.
But it wasn't obvious. I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
Now, if you had, again, you want to pay fan service?
It's probably when I was peeing.
Maybe at some point one of the guys grabs her, or maybe the android's whatever his name. I wish I knew his name. I could look it up, but whatever. Maybe he's doing something, and the guy's like, "Get off her, bitch!" Something small. But it has to be this fucking climactic moment.
Yeah.
That's when fan service is bad. If it had been just a little one-liner here earlier on,
Yeah, I mean, they go for it, and some people, listen.
But we're so past... It's 2020.
I don't like fan service.
It's 2024. We're past being corny. Premium TV shows, we know how to make good quality shit now. It doesn't need to be lame and corny and silly.
Again, I just assume that for every one person here that doesn't like that, and it's like, please don't stop. Please stop servicing me as a fan.
Please stop.
I want you to try. No, seriously. Prometheus and Covenant could not have been any more. I mean, they're fan servicing in their own ways, but
tangent time.
But
we don't need to give AI to people to create shit because we don't. Okay. The rise of AI. One day I'll be able to just think of the sequel to Aliens that I want, and it'll come out, right?
Yeah.
The reason why this doesn't work. You don't want to know what you're going to see.
Yeah.
You want somebody else to create the art for you to consume and enjoy.
Yeah.
When you fan service,
I do want to know exactly
when
what I'm
you
getting
fan
into.
service me, you're ruining the experience of me getting to have a new experience.
Yeah.
You're throwing in things that make me go, take me out of the experience.
Yeah.
I don't want to create the sequel in my mind. I don't want to have God of Gamblers. Well, there is God of Gamblers too. I don't want to have another Italian Fat. I just want more of what I saw.
Yeah.
I'm not capable of creating something that's going to impress myself.
Yeah.
I want someone else to. Ooh, I didn't know Xenogear was gonna. I would have never thought to create a xenomorph and an engineer in that weird fucking Slender Man body. Thank you. It was weird. I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking weird and cool.
I did too.
It just plot wise didn't whatever. But I would have not thought of that. So when you fan service, you're basically telling your audience, "This is what you want."
Yeah.
No, I don't. I want you to show me things that I don't know they're gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And this was like tied into the rise of AI. I'll make my own art.
Yeah.
You can't make your own art. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Artists make art. You're not an artist. That has to. Sorry, I'm
running out of
time
things
over.
to say. But I do want to say before, just because again I was like, I just want to talk about.
I'm just
Covenant.
explaining why fan service is bad.
I liked this movie.
I keep going back to that.
I liked it.
did too. I liked
did.
it.
I liked this movie, and again, I think it's going to grow over time.
I want to
but listen,
love it.
Listen, I think that if I'm probably going to watch this movie a bunch more times before I die, because that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's an easy
And
watch. I'm not going to doubt
It's
that.
an easy watch. You know, it's not an easy watch.
Prometheus and Covenant. Yeah,
and
Resurrection.
But different.
Alien 3 is an easy watch.
Every time I come back to Prometheus and Covenant, I wrestle with it, but I appreciate it more when I come away from it. And say, there's so much shit to fucking chew on. When I get mad, it's still because it's raising questions and all kinds of things. But like, this is just, it's just there. It's fine.
But that's the thing. This goes back to the intro with the sequels. What is the point if you're just going to make it's fine, it's there.
Because
Alien.
they did the big swings with Prometheus and Covenant, and they were not financially successful.
But they're also not. They weren't called Alien Prometheus and Alien. It was called Alien Covenant.
It was
called Alien Covenant.
They didn't hide it. That
Prometheus.
Again, you see the studios, like.
But what I mean is,
this time Ridley, we're putting fucking Alien in the front. Also, put a fucking Alien in this movie. That's where
Yeah, it's funny. Covenant. I kind of just blot out the whole when they're in the temple, whatever that calls.
That's the best part of the movie.
It is the best acted, and the two Davids. And all
it's
that stuff.
Literally like the best part of the movie.
I like the beginning. I like the we're walking through. What is this place? The gray skies, all the fucking virus in his ear, And then I like the end when it's like that thing's on the ship and it's going, and they have to figure
out. It's funny
out.
because that's my least favorite part is when it gets on the ship.
It's not okay. It's not that I think that the middle part's bad. I actually think it is the most effective stuff.
Yeah.
But it's slow in a way that
it's slow.
It's not. It just takes a long time.
Yeah.
It is good. It's not what I like.
Again, having just watched it.
But sorry, it is good. I don't like it.
There is nothing in. Again, I like Romulus. There is nothing in Romulus that is intense as Fifield and Milburn getting killed in Prometheus. There is nothing as intense as Shaw taking the organism out of her thing. There is nothing as intense as the fucking neomorph white albino alien thing in Covenant. That when it comes out, that's fucking tense. Everything comes out when he attacks the people with the guns.
What I was going to say is why Prey is better. Prey was not a movie that it's just another one and it's okay. Prey was like elevated it, right? This doesn't elevate anything. And that's a bummer. So even if none of the Alien movies existed before this, and this was its own thing, B+, A-.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because it's an Alien movie.
That's different.
And it's only a B.
Hold it to a higher standard.
It's only a B. It's a higher standard. And not only because you have something to build from, it's not like Resurrection where you came in and you're like, whoa, you guys fucked it up. Yeah. This is just, man, it should have been better. And it looked great. It had all these things that should have made it better. And you just kind of squandered it by focusing on the wrong things.
I did look at this, and if I was going to be cynical, I would look at Romulus and I would kind of look at it as like, so is this it now? Is this what we're doing? Because I liked this, and if you guys want to do one of these every 2 years or whatever, who am I to argue with you giving me a science fiction horror film for me to enjoy? However, I just want to see what David was going to do in that last movie. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. It's going somewhere.
Yeah.
It was going someplace.
It was building.
I was not always agreeing, and and some things I struggle with, but it was like, fucking movie. I can't fucking wait to see the next one. I gotta see what happens. Like, there's none of that here.
And
nothing.
It was such. And I mean, that's the same thing that happened when Shaw is just like...
Yeah. And then people are pissed about that. The same from Aliens to Alien 3.
Yes.
The internet, it drives them fucking wild.
Man, the fucking ending of Covenant and what happens to Danny McBride's character and it's such a downer.
I love it though.
But you're like, it has to go to something though. Right. The downer isn't so much that it was sad and bad and mean. It was mean.
It was
mean.
It's a mean movie.
But it was going to build to something.
Yeah.
It was mean in service of, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
Yeah.
And it meant nothing. Well, and that's not necessarily his fault, though.
Now we're talking about it, so can I just ask you? So this is late. Since we did our podcast, I don't remember what I said in that podcast. I have to go back and listen to it now.
What?
Like our Alien marathon podcast?
Yeah.
But
I don't remember doing an Alien marathon podcast,
to
be honest. Okay.
I know, we did some, who knows. But one of my number one big problems with just all of Ridley Scott's revisionism on the prequels and stuff, we'll stop in a second, is...
No, I'm looking at my notes.
Again, things that maybe the movies weren't implying this so much, but I'm finding that I'm just creating my own headcanon just to make things I'm doing what a fan does. I'm doing what my friend, the Star Wars, we both know who, I won't say his name, but massive Star Wars nerd who just loves literally every single thing that gets put out.
Yeah.
Quality be damned.
Right.
Because all of it, he makes it all work in his head. And maybe that's what I'm doing. But I've gotten to a point now where, because the things that I really had a hard time with were wait, they created the xenomorph? It didn't already exist?
Right.
Oh, let me finish. I had struggled with that. And then it was the space jockey was just one of these engineer things in a suit? Hold on.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
I struggled with that.
I didn't. I'm okay with it, but there's a reason why. And I
struggled with it because I watched Alien enough times to be that thing has an open mouth and it's not a suit.
Pink elephant.
And then in Covenant,
pink elephant, everybody.
Covenant, I thought what was being implied was that, oh wait, so David literally creates what we know as the xenomorph. He created it. So we created an android. Android does this and creates the thing.
Yeah.
It's
Mass Effect.
That challenged me. I had a problem with that.
Wait, I mean,
most of the things come back to the xenomorph being a thing that was created rather than just being a Lovecraftian horror.
But
that was out
there's
there
also the movie mistakes with but there's the mural of the xenomorph and
all those things killed me, right? Because it was just I was kind of rolled that I'm well, this is the xenomorph kind of. We're getting there, right?
Yeah.
But then there was the fucking mural, and I'm just there's eggs and facehuggers, and there's just the whole thing is right there. So how could? So here's where I've landed in my head canon.
But David didn't.
I don't.
The horseshoe in the first movie is not.
It's not. That's another thing. I've never fallen down that.
And then the goo,
the thing where people are the ship at the beginning of Alien. There's no. That's not. It's not even. It's not. First of all, it's not the same ship. Obviously, that ship crashed, and there's but. So here are the things I'm just doing, just really quickly. Just bear with me here, because maybe people will enjoy this. Here's my headcanon right now for these things. Okay.
I'm locked in,
or at least possible.
Strapped in.
These possibilities are making this world still interesting and fresh to me.
Okay.
Rather than just with these prequels, what did they do? Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, the xenomorph absolutely existed before every single movie that we watched.
Yes.
Two. This is a new one. Just today, for me. The space jockey in that first Alien, first of all, it's not just that it's in a suit. It's twice as tall as what we saw.
They're climbing over this. Yeah.
Don't give me a break. Now, what would bum me out would just be we found that it wasn't practical to create something that was actually that tall, so we found a really tall actor and we did that.
Yes.
I that's probably what it is. But I hope that it's not.
They walk by the suits, is it?
But again, yeah.
They see the actual suit that
the suits are still pretty much.
They're not that same size.
I think they're approximate. They're not they're not space jockey size.
Right.
But I had a thought. I thought, well, this whole fucking thing is about how this begets this, begets this, begets this, creates this, creates this.
Yes.
The engineers come from space jockeys. That's my new headcanon.
No.
That's for me.
I mean, it doesn't make... But it literally is like, no. It's,
why not?
Okay, why are we doing this?
Well, I told you.
Because this is where, like...
This is stuff I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay, this is like, let's argue about, like, this is like a YouTube video.
Okay, that's
like,
all.
You know,
and I just want to say, David didn't create the xenomorph the way that he recreated it.
No, because, like, I'm saying, Prometheus literally said the space jockeys are these guys in suits.
No, they didn't.
That's what...
No. Nobody ever says that. Just watch these movies. No.
The space jockey came to Earth...
No.
Not Bill.
Nope. First of all, when you say, if you're going to do this, you have to say engineers. Those are from the new movie. Space jockey, the thing that we saw in the original Alien. Just
so you're saying what burst out of the original? I still don't. I don't follow.
The original Alien film.
Yeah, we have space jockeys. How did engineers?
What did you call it? A pink elephant?
Because it's in the comics.
Right. That's what we're.
So if you guys don't know, in the comics, before obviously Prometheus, we try to like it's a guy in a suit. I
choose to believe that instead of them, what probably happened was that Ridley Scott looks at the space jockey, the pink elephant, and says, "What if it's a suit?" But didn't think about it enough because I think it's really obvious that it's not a suit in the first Alien.
Yeah, no, it was just a way to like retcon, right? To just explain it away.
Yeah. Fuck that.
If you want to reject it, that's fine.
I'm rejecting it because I don't think there's actually anything in the movies that rejects my rejection. The space jockey is ancient. It is so old. It's fucking fossilized, they said. They didn't do a thing like in where they were able to carbon date it or whatever.
I'm sorry. Do you know what Okay, let's go into like why dinosaurs are real. Do you know what a fossil is?
No, but that's what they said in the movie. So
fossils aren't actually bones.
I get it.
Fossils have to be in sedimentary rock and dirt, and then what it is that becomes fossilized.
Okay, science teacher. Your wife's a science teacher. Fine. I
watch the guy on Instagram and YouTube.
My point is that the space jockey is fucking ancient. Also,
it can also fly and it has brain powers.
I'm just saying.
Pink elephant.
Just roll with me.
Do you remember the pink elephant though?
Yeah, it's a real old comic.
It literally can fly through the air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is a whole franchise. 2 movies. That's all. It's all about how
none of that is real.
It's all about how like creating the next thing, like what created me. And
so the space jockeys have created the.
I'm just saying that it's possible that it actually is a 20-foot tall organism that can still exist in this thing, have existed even longer. And that makes sense that the things that we have and the tech we have and the similarities that we have to engineers are the same way that engineers. Here's another fun thought that's not actually true when I think about it. But somebody was like, what if engineers are actually fucking like androids that the engineers that we see are like androids that the people that created. But that doesn't make sense because he had a thing come out of him or whatever, and that wouldn't happen if it was an android and all that shit. And plus also, here's some more fun stuff. In Covenant, you have the scene where David drops like the entire payload on what I just always just said to myself. It was, well, if it's not the home planet, it's a home planet. It's some kind of like place where these engineers live. Or that could have been some shit that the engineers seeded, and that's just like, you know, they kind of look like them. And that's why it's like it's just one of the places that they fucking did their thing. And they were like, "Oh, the gods, look, they're coming back." They're all out looking. And I always thought that was kind of weird because it was like, I mean, I get it. They're like an expedition of ships that went out. I would be pretty excited, I guess, when the NASA spaceship comes back.
It's more like Christopher Columbus has come back.
I think it's more like,
well, actually, that wouldn't make sense.
Our gods came back.
No, I think it's more like our hero guys that went on a mission have returned.
That's the way I first thought about it.
Because why would they make them look exactly like engineers?
Because we look like engineers.
Because now you're overanalyzing.
But we look like engineers.
We look like them.
But if you watch that again, they don't. The engineers are 10 feet tall, incredibly, insanely Arnold Schwarzenegger buff and everything like that.
They are? Or that one is?
That's true.
We don't know. We haven't seen any more than him on that ship. Maybe he's in the military, and he's just the biggest ones they got.
I'm saying that I love these movies because still it's been this many years, and there's still a lot about a what if and what if and what if and questions.
I mean, there is if you want to. This is like Star Wars. I don't know. Like
Fine. I'm excited about it.
It's fun to a point, and then you're just being every weather weirdo.
But again, this is headcanon shit because when the black goo got put back into Romulus, for me, I'm like, oh no. In my head, I was just like, Prometheus and Covenant are over here, and I can appreciate them for what. I just pretend that they're like this other franchise thing.
Yeah.
I don't really think about them too hard. I compartmentalize. They are not a part of my Alien canon. At least weren't for a very long time.
Okay.
And then Romulus happened, and I'm like, God damn it! Like, you brought the black goo back, and there's the engineer again. So
sometimes movies are just movies.
I know that, but I'm
okay.
a fan. So I've gone back and I've rewatched these, and I'm starting to try to make them all fit. You
took this a lot more serious than I thought.
I'm a fan. I love this stuff.
I do too. I mean, obviously, I've read all of them. I read like 90% of the books, the novels, and stuff like that. I grew up as a teenager reading Predator and Alien novels and shit, and like getting more. Again, when I watched Resurrection, and great, I forget which ones are the comics that were also turned into novels, and then some of those novels that are, there's overlap between the novels and comics, and there's also comics and novels that were not ever pursued equally or whatever. But Resurrection, like the idea of aliens trapped in a container, killing one of their own for the acid to eat through. I was like, yeah, he read the books.
Yeah,
it was in the comics probably,
okay.
But I was like, he read the books.
Yeah,
and that's fun because you're seeing things that are not canon.
Yeah,
but whatever. So those stories should be what the next Alien movie would be in my mind. It's not wrong. It's not let's recreate Alien for the new generation or soft reboot, remake, whatever the fuck you want to call this thing. Because there's so many parallels to the original that like it's basically a remake, but not. I don't know how to even put that. Put the same shoes on her, give her the gun, all this. It's like it's not a remake, but
she ran around in her underwear.
Underwear, like you're doing all the things. So like, what is this? Because if it's a sequel, or if it's another movie in the franchise, why are you copying so much from previous? Aliens didn't copy anything from Alien other than there's a xenomorph.
Yeah.
Alien 3 didn't copy anything from Aliens. It closer to Alien.
I would say that I thought about this for a second because I was just like, what in James Cameron Aliens is fan service? Because that didn't really exist probably like at that point in time. However, there are some things like she blows the queen out of an airlock.
Yes,
you could have killed that queen any which way you wanted.
Oh,
to.
Absolutely.
They decided to pay fan service for the first movie.
That's all she had to do. No.
It's a story.
You could call it fan service. You could call it fan service. It's also, she's like, how did I kill the last one when I had no weapons? I could do that again.
By the way, I feel like if you just released James Cameron's Aliens today, and you had that climax, I think everybody would complain that the queen was hanging onto her foot, and the size of that thing and being pulled out through the airlock. That's the kind of, not that specifically, but that's the kind of detail that people would just like be so nitpicky about.
Wait, the foot slipped off the shoe.
That's not what happened.
What happens?
No, it grabs her foot.
Yeah.
And hangs on for a while.
I know.
And her shoe doesn't come off.
No, not her shoe comes off. Is that, try to grab
I'm just saying, can the human body not only hang on, just, like this.
Okay, but now you're getting
into vacuum of space.
Now you're doing me with nitpicking a movie.
I know that.
But here's the thing. That's not even like so far flung. It's just like I don't know.
I feel like also the fact that thing probably weighs how many hundreds of pounds?
Yeah, I mean that.
And it's also hanging onto her.
Here's the thing. It would have been able to kill her immediately. She would have never gotten out of the nest. I mean, come on.
Her leg would have just torn off. Like, I mean, but whatever. I don't care.
That's not the things that are, yeah. It's really, can I nitpick anything from those movies? I don't know that I can.
I just did for you. I did it for you.
But the things like that, those don't seem to matter as much because it has gravitas. Yeah. But I did want to bring up a couple things though. Like, this really is a discussion between Alien and the franchise as a whole with this new thing. Not even about the movie that much. I'll just say this: the shooting in the zero gravity and the acid everywhere. I thought it was cool. It was a fun idea on paper. Was unique. It was a good idea, but like, it wouldn't work like that. Oh, it would have gone everywhere.
That was your nitpicking.
It would have gone everywhere.
Yeah. I thought that was a neat idea for something.
It was fun on paper. It was fun that somebody had like an idea, but I'm like, it would have gone everywhere. Yeah. You don't just kill someone and it just goes. It just stops.
They did more stuff. They don't do enough stuff.
And I certainly would not go travel through it.
Yeah.
Again, like just find another solution. I don't know. I got to go back to get the android that's suffering. I mean, whatever. You're gonna get. Why was there blue laser on the ground?
Because that's from the first movie.
Thank you. There's your answer, right?
Because they watched the first movie. That's what they say on Red Letter Media. Why does he say, "Get away from her, you bitch"? Because he saw aliens.
So David perfected the creature, which you could say fine. He didn't create the xenomorph. He created a more perfect version of a xenomorph.
No, I think it's like somebody said this on Twitter. I don't know about this. Maybe you do. He said they're like crabs. It's like no matter what, like evolutionary, like a crab just ends up being a crab. Like I think that I don't know what that means.
I get it. So what does David think that he did then?
I think
he thinks he created something that already existed.
That's the theme of the movie. Because if you go back and you watch it, all those boring parts, and he's talking to Walter and they're playing the flute,
right?
And it's the whole conversation is about creation. Can you create?
Can you create? Can you make music?
Yeah,
I get it.
That's why. But he thinks he can.
Right.
But he can't. Right. That's what I think.
I mean, it's interesting because there's so much, Alien 3, director's cut versus theatrical cut, dog versus oxen, on 4 legs,
It's so funny how this franchise, like, Jessica's at, my wife, it doesn't matter, asking me questions.
People have first names, they're not that unique.
Asking me questions about this kind of stuff, and I'd just be like, well, there was no queen in the first movie. That was something that just like, well, there's eggs, so there must be a queen. And then in the third movie, I was like, well, what does it look like if it comes out of a fucking thing, And then that was such a huge...
What if it was cloned from a person who had an alien inside them?
It's just, what if? What would
it make then?
What if, yeah.
What if it birthed a baby?
Yeah, so this one, the what if, I guess, was what? If you're pregnant and you inject yourself with the black goo...
Also the fact that, like, the black goo became a thing, like, I can reanimate a squished rat. What are we doing? Can't we just make an alien movie?
I just don't like the black goo. Like, I think it's had its time, and I don't want...
I like the black goo, it just doesn't need to be all everywhere.
I just think it's a Deus Ex Machina. It just does whatever you want.
Yeah, that's what they kind of did with it. That's what I mean, like, there's so many shortcuts. I do like the movie, I just wish 10 minutes of it could have been fixed, and then it'd be like, it's A, it's an A, it's a solid A, right? I
give it a B.
I'm just saying it could have been. And I have to go with... Okay, so the reason why I brought David, fixing and Ash experimenting, which I don't know how they had... Where did they get all these face huggers?
So that was something that... Okay, so we have the scene which I thought was pretty cool, where they go... Well, first of all, somebody...
Like, if we want to, dig deep in, who's got all the alien knowledge, and this was... We're too far into this video for that, but,
These are more what-if questions. What if Weyland-Yutani knew about these creatures before the first movie even happens?
I think they did.
I mean, you've read all the books and all that shit, so I don't...
That's not so much about that stuff. They mentioned... Was it in this one? No, it was in this movie. They say, maybe it was Heavy Spoiler Show on YouTube, or it was in the movie. It was like Ash... It was like they sent to go mine this... In the first movie, they sent to go mine this stuff, but then deliberately was to put off course to go get close enough to get the emergency beacon thing to then go there. I don't believe that... Again, believe. It doesn't make sense. The first movie was, no, there was literally a thing that they go, there's a thing going on here, and we happened to find it.
I prefer to think of it as happenstance.
It's happenstance. And then the Weyland-Yutani android, he's there, but they're like, if you find something, your number one directive is to bring that back. So it's not that they knew that it was there, is that they found something, and his thing is like, I have to bring this back. But they said, why Ash went crazy?
Yeah.
It could be that his directive was, I'm not allowed to harm humans, but the company... has me hard-coded to what's the most important thing here?
What's my overriding...
And that's why he flipped. Not because... So you can kind of go no, the data got sent back after... They did transmit data. The company knows this exists. In the ensuing 20 years, they've heard about these things, or the things have happened. Did they know about that shit before the first movie? No. If that was the case, why would they have found it by a second movie?
Well,
why would they have put a colony there?
Again, happenstance. That's what it was supposed to be. It was, again, I don't think those movies were ever implying that there was that level of a Weyland-Yutani conspiracy.
Right. It's not.
It was happenstance. It was like, we have a fucking colony on there right now. They didn't say anything about anything that you're talking about.
Right.
She's like, wait, what? How many colonists? That was a good bit,
Yeah.
And
it's also doing the thing where, when you wrote the original movie... None of this shit.
Exactly.
You're adding it in later.
Of course.
But even if you do let's just play the game. Based on what we've seen from everything, it doesn't make sense to have all these overarching things. But by Alien 3, by Resurrection, obviously 200 years in the future, past that, even Prometheus, stuff like that, they know stuff. And they want to be involved. They don't know exactly what it is. By the time Romulus, this movie, which is in between one, two, they're full on. And so that's kind of a weird dichotomy.
So we had the scene where they show up at the Nostromo, right? They want to go to the Nostromo wreckage. And in Romulus, there's a shot of It's like towards the beginning of the movie.
I walked in. I missed the first 30 seconds.
I think it's like the
I
beginning
saw
of the
them
movie.
pulling up what looked like an asteroid.
Yeah.
From somewhere, and it had like an alien imprint on it or something like that.
It's literally the xenomorph from...
Oh, yeah, no, they didn't go to the Nostromo to find it. They said it'd been floating around, and the Nostromo's blown up.
Yeah, and so when they go there, it's just a bunch of, like, debris.
Okay, I didn't see that part.
Okay.
I just thought, because they said they were looking for 20 years.
I mean, you might as well...
What were they looking for 20 years?
Probably Nostromo.
I thought it said that they knew this, because again...
Look, this is the way I think
the computer takes all this data, and it collects it and it sends it out. They know this thing got blown out. They've been looking for it floating through space. I didn't know that... I think someone said, like, it could have just, like, kind of...
Maybe.
That explosion, there's nothing left of the Nostromo.
Well...
There's nothing left of
Romulus
that thing.
disagrees.
Romulus crashes into an asteroid belt, and it's slowly...
No, I mean, Romulus, the movie, disagrees.
I know, but Romulus is getting
Yeah.
slowly chewed up.
Yeah.
That thing was annihilated.
Well, that was what
I
they said.
assumed, which happens in one of the books.
They literally show the Nostromo. Like...
Okay, see, I didn't see it, and that doesn't make any sense. I thought it was, this thing had been floating through space for 20 years, and we finally tracked this. There's a thing floating. It must be what we're looking for.
Wait,
I didn't realize that.
No. Never mind. Yeah, they found it. Yeah. They found the wreckage of the Nostromo. That's what they did.
I mean, it helps.
But then my next question was like, well, then how the fuck did they? Because then in my head it was just like, well, if they found the Nostromo, then they find the derelict.
Hey,
but like they weren't anywhere near it. They all went back into. They were a long ways away from the derelict planet before the xenomorph started fucking shit up.
No,
weren't they?
They fucked him up on the planet. They landed on the planet. He was birthed. They took off. When did they take off?
They already took off. No, they took off before.
Yeah, but okay. According to this movie,
they don't go back into
the events of Alien happened.
So you're right. They couldn't have gotten that far.
The total events of the first movie, Aliens, happened in about 5 hours, according to this movie.
Yeah.
Because if you can, again, we're getting into these weirdly weird.
I know. No, you're talking about incubation periods, but that's an easy. I mean, if you want to, you can just say depends on the person, depends on the environment, depends on whether they're a car thing or not.
That's why I was asking about David perfecting it. Ash is like, we're doing all these studies, we're milking these things, and they have so many of them. Like, there has to be a queen. There's no, I want to go back to, like, test your knowledge. It's like, test your might. The first Alien movie, the director's cut, I explained to you that you didn't even kind of know about it, whatever, is that in the absence of a queen,
you brought up
xenomorph can salivate its goo on the walls, take a human, basically let it, and this is where the black goo actually comes, okay, you go back to Alien. This is where the black goo actually can make sense. If you go back to Ridley Scott's director's cut. God damn it.
It's where Dallas is plastered up on the...
He's plastered up on the wall. They're turning into eggs. So that the saliva of the xenomorph has the DNA stuff of whatever you want to call it, goes back to the black goo. You spread enough of that stuff on an organic thing, it'll turn itself into an egg, gives you a face hugger, and then you can birth yourself a queen. Okay. In this situation, there's a lot of face huggers. That has to be a queen. Just like Aliens, there's a lot of them.
I just think they found the derelict. They found all those eggs.
I agree with it 100%. That would make the most sense.
That's the thing that makes the most sense.
But how did they...
That also means they got, like, black goo shit, maybe, or whatever. They had a space jockey.
They would have found one of those canisters.
Maybe.
Right?
We never saw those. That's...
How would they not get... There are no xenomorphs on the derelict ship. Just eggs.
They're just eggs. Well, we don't...
And
there's a whole fucking ship.
And there's a queen on that ship, but there's...
So then that begs the question, like, where did the queen come from, right? Like in...
the space jockey.
Sure, okay. Why not? I don't know.
And in some animals, in the absence of...
Yeah.
You become the queen.
My point is, it's just when they're kicking around in the derelict in the first movie, where is the queen? Is it hanging on the ship somewhere? We just don't see it.
We just don't see it.
Okay.
It's
I'm not asking because I'm just curious. It's just fun to think about.
It's down in the hole somewhere, right? Okay. It's down in there. What I'm going to say is, though, that all those eggs, it would only make sense if they found the derelict and they got all... But they didn't, because by Aliens, which is 40 years past Romulus, Hadley's Hope finds all... it's still all there. There has to be a queen on board. Okay, but Ash had to have been experimenting for quite a while to find black goo and pump it. All these experiments.
Decades.
What were they...
He made it sound like they synthesized. He basically recreated the black goo.
Yeah,
from
their DNA,
which is probably what the engineers did. That's why I'm saying this goes back to my theory that like xenomorphs already existed.
That's a good one. That's a good one, right?
I did it.
The engineers, not the space jockeys. Because those are separate things.
That's a far thing for me.
They've got xenomorphs, and they were able to get that goo.
Yeah.
And
which is, I think, with the engineers, I've always thought that that's...
So the engineers didn't create xenomorphs at all.
Yes.
They seed life based on what the xenomorph...
Yeah, which is why they have fucking murals of xenomorphs and shit on their thing.
It wasn't a mistake. It was always supposed to be there. It wasn't an editing mistake.
Again, just drove me fucking crazy. I was just like... The production designers made that thing and they just thought it looked cool, and really was like, yeah, sure, let's put it in there, we'll shoot it. Like, how do you notice? Like, you asshole. Like, no, it's...
But it is interesting, though, that the whole thing with the Romulus ship itself doesn't make timeline-wise and the amount of whatever. But how were they able to, like... Because you get a xenomorph, everything goes... You can't contain them, everything goes bad. They end up killing everybody, which is what happens here. How long did it take? How long did they work? Like, how many did they get before this happened?
I don't know.
How many... They froze those face huggers. They didn't just
they had a lot of face huggers. But that was a lot of eggs. I don't know if last time you watch Alien, but when he goes down in that thing, we're talking about
hundreds. But they didn't go there.
We don't know that. That's why we just said.
By the time...
Weyland-Yutani made it to the...
By the time Aliens happens, it's 40 years past Romulus, and they still haven't even discovered the damn thing. And when he goes there, he gets...
No, then in this case, you could say that maybe they did already know about it.
And they just took some and left the rest. Right, because in Aliens, they find it, and then he gets the facehugger on him. So there's obviously all this stuff still down there. Now, if you said, well, if you changed the timeline, and they went down there, you did what Predators do. Predators go get themselves a queen.
I don't like thinking about it. Now I want to pull back. Because I'm just now I'm just like, if you know the derelict is there, and you know it's full of eggs, even if you were just like, let's see what happens when we have a colony and everything, how fucking expensive that colony was with the everything comes back down to money. And the reactor,
and you're already doing the tests.
Why would you put any of that stuff at risk?
Right.
So I don't know.
They found one alien floating Nostromo. They got it back, but then it would have to have broken loose and like ruined a lot of shit for them. Because like, did they feed it people? Like, here, do something with a person.
Well, we don't even. That's we're gonna comic books and books again. Like, do they eat? Like, there's a whole
no, but he did drag when the Dora the Explorer is injured after the birth. No, not the birth.
Dora the Explorer?
That's who that is.
What?
Is Isabel, the character who's the pregnant one?
What do you mean?
The pregnant character.
I don't know anything about Dora the Explorer. It's a cartoon.
The actress, you don't know what Dora the Explorer is?
Yeah, so she's like, come on, let's go find the thing.
Sniping nose.
Sniping, yes. I'm aware, but what are you talking about? She's like the voice actor?
No, she was also in Sicario, too. She was the girl in Sicario. She was the little one that...
Oh, okay.
Right? She's young.
No, I did not know that.
From then... She became the live-action version of Dora the Explorer.
I didn't know there was a live-action version of Dora the Explorer.
And the only reason I know it is because it's the girl from Sicario, too. I was like, I love those. I love Sicario. When Dora the Explorer is injured, after the pilot girl with the X-ray machine, it pops out, she's trying to go hide, right, and try to get away. I would have gotten... Like, she goes to the cargo bay, and there's like a vehicle. I would have gotten inside the vehicle and just, like, hide. When she's trying to get out the door, you see it go and grab two bodies. And takes them back. So it's using the bodies for something. It does eat.
Yeah.
It just doesn't care to eat. It doesn't need to. It can live in space for 20 years with no oxygen and no food.
Yeah.
But if it has food, it will eat. Why? Because then it grows. And then it can make more.
So
they were either feeding this one they found, they like gave it a person and saw what it did, and maybe it grabbed the person and made an egg, and then that egg made more and more and more.
In Alien's Labyrinth, they were literally xenomorphs trying to create genetic experiments on humans, But
it was all a lie. The doctor made all that up.
Yeah.
Never they made him eat the stuff, and he's like, I made up the whole story.
But you believed it all.
I did. until he goes, oh, he's a liar. Case in point, Alien Resurrection, Ron Perlman, what's his job? He's not a bounty, a guy who like sells goods through space.
Well, it's merchant.
Merchant. Yeah, he's a merchant, right? But he doesn't know what the cargo that he has. He's getting people, right? And they're using people for experiments. Where they do the same thing on Romulus, where they're getting like humans and then putting them and having them do the thing. Like, is it all resurrection?
That all tracks for me.
And that would make sense. But the timeline, there's not enough.
But it's also just more, where the fuck did they get all those facehuggers? That's really the question.
To have them to be able, because by the time you had that many facehuggers, that means the ship is that means there's already queen and shit's already bad, right? Unless they have a really
I guess it's possible. I mean, roll with me on this, I guess. Like, because you're just like, just because...
Symbiotic. She's like, oh, I'll lay eggs and you get to implant them in people? Oh, okay.
I was just going to... It was more simple than that. I was just going to say, like, just because Weyland-Yutani has a space station called Romulus, where it's like all these experiments and all these things are going on, doesn't mean that all of Weyland-Yutani knows that that's happening. So if the Romulus station goes dark because of obviously accidents,
and they wouldn't know it was because
I'm just saying then that to me squares the circle of why the fuck would you build a colony on the planet where you already knew that there were a bunch more of these eggs?
No, not even that. When they went up there and they're like, there's this thing floating up there we thought was a spaceship. Oh, it turns out it's a space station. How did...
I don't know.
Weyland-Yutani not know that they don't have good tracking in space to know that there's a fucking humongous...
maybe it's like so super secret. Like
when they said it was going to crash, I thought it was going to crash into the planet.
Also, how are...
Until like, oh, it's going to hit the asteroid belt or the ring.
How are just the teenage... Like, how are... Nobody else thought, like, just for salvage sake, like, to go up there and
no one saw it. Because no one goes above the clouds, really. Right? But that's what I mean is, like, that station on the planet is a Weyland-Yutani station.
Yes.
They don't have space monitoring to going, there's a humongous object floating in space above us.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, how would they not know? They sent the message back to corporate headquarters and it took them 6 months to get the message?
But maybe, like, we saw just kind of this mining planet, you know? Like... They don't fucking know.
It's Weyland-Yutani, man. This is like...
Yeah, but they're the grunt fucking nobodies.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're huge. It's a headcanon. You just create
your own
headcanon.
Weyland's company is pulling a predator. Predators go as a group. They go into a hive and they get themselves a queen. And they take the queen back. And then they have that queen lay eggs so that they can put them on planets, populate them, and then go hunt. Right?
Yeah.
They go get themselves a queen. They wanted a queen, they got them a queen.
I saw a 10, I went after a 10, and I got a 10.
So Weyland got themselves a queen. And then what? It broke loose, and then the whole ship... There was a lot of facehuggers.
I don't think
I'm going to keep saying those words over.
I'm disagreeing. You believe whatever you want. I think that they found the Nostromo wreckage, which somehow still exists, even though you're like, no way. And then from there, they do find LV-426. They find the derelict ship. They find hundreds of eggs. Get a lot of them.
And none of them get face hugged in the process. Because I don't know what data they have about this thing. They know that there's an alien that killed everybody on board. But they don't... Do they know... Did Ash type up a story?
I don't know,
you know what? Ash is an android.
No one even saw the eggs besides Kane.
Did he tell anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Ash is an android. He took all the data that he was witnessing. He
had a camera. Now that I think about it.
He put it all into Mother. Mother sent it back before she got blown up. The company was like, ooh, there's something out there. But, yeah. They were able to go get all these eggs.
I just think that they got a bunch of eggs. That's what I think.
They froze them. A lot of cryo.
Yeah.
They froze those eggs.
They got a bunch of eggs, so therefore they have a bunch of facehuggers.
Did the eggs open and the facehuggers came out?
I don't know. They
take them out.
cut them open. They did figure it out.
Yeah, they froze them and took it. Yeah.
That's fine. It's a lab, okay? They're doing all the things. Okay? But my main thing is just like, where did all the fucking eggs from?
Science.
They got the eggs from the derelict. That's what happened. They took as many as they could, and they took them off to their lab, and they did all their fucking experiments and shit. That's why we don't see a queen, because there ain't no queen. All they had were eggs, so therefore lots of facehuggers. Therefore, the only thing you're getting is a normal-ass xenomorph. They synthesized the black goo from the xenomorph creature, the creature itself, or it doesn't matter because they're all the same DNA. And that's the same exact thing the engineers did.
Because they got the ones off the derelict came from the space jockey. Which is not an engineer in your mind.
In my mind.
So in this regard, they got... Why are we filling on... What? Is this even a... Where do you put this on the internet?
I don't care.
I don't even know what we're doing.
I told you. It's just an excuse to talk to you about it.
They went to the derelict. They got all the eggs. Those eggs are from a queen who burst out of a space jockey, which is an engineer. So, case in point, all those xenomorphs have engineer DNA in them, so when she does the black goo, it would look like an engineer.
Sure.
But a regular xenomorph, which existed before the engineers...
I see what you're saying. Because, like, where does the engineer DNA come from?
It came from the fact that...
Because whatever thing I just said, that doesn't make any sense. Why does it come out looking like an engineer?
So what Ridley Scott tried to space Jesus here was that the engineer created the xenomorph. And so from that means the xenomorph has his engineer DNA in it, so when she injects the black goo. Our thinking is that they found the derelict. Xenomorphs have already existed. Something went wrong on the derelict. Engineer got face huggered, bust out a queen who then laid a shit ton of eggs, and all those have engineered DNA from them. Not that the engineer created the xenomorph with his DNA, is that the xenomorph came out of that engineer. And so that's why it has engineered DNA. Because if an engineer goes to a planet and drinks the black goo, it's got xenomorph DNA in it from the goo, and it got his own mix. So no matter what, engineers are kind of like, yeah, all life is seeded from an engineer and a xenomorph. It's
right,
so stupid.
I'm done.
It's so stupid.
I took it to a place where I was happy, and now I've taken it too far, and now I'm frustrated again.
Last thing I want to say is just to clarify, the gestation in this movie is face-huggered, not even fully, because they did remove it before it did the full job. 47 minutes, the station's going to crash. I didn't track the real time if this movie actually took place over 47 minutes or not, until it happened. But you have 47 minutes until this thing's going to crash. She was able to get implanted, get chest bursted. That thing created and that was the nest thing, the big vagina that it comes out of.
Yeah, which that's a new one.
Because we've seen this.
Oh, I have another question because I was peeing. Did they show in Romulus? Did they show any skin sheddings?
Yes.
Okay.
So from what I know about alien xenomorphs is that they need food. When they're little, they need to eat. Eat a cat, eat a rat, eat a dog, whatever it is. They would do that to then turn into a big xenomorph. And at that point, they kind of don't need to eat anymore. If they want to, they can. They don't have to, it seems like. This one said, it could have been Heavy Spoiler Show. Hi, my name is Paul.
Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host, Paul.
Because there was no food for it to eat, because the gestation was so quick and that it was implanted and it burst out immediately, which, again, how did it gestate so fast? That's the act of growing into the chest burster, not the chest burster turn into a xenomorph. Both of them were too fast, right? But, it didn't gestate fast enough inside there because it didn't, whatever. It had to cocoon itself and grow. But that's kind of what they... How did it build that fucking cocoon? That little thing?
I felt like Romulus was just saying, here's something you haven't seen yet.
So
they all do this.
The only way I would have excused it was, what I asked you originally was that when David's perfecting it, you could be like, David made a version where it can do it really fast. Because he's not creating xenomorph, it already existed. Mm-hmm. But he could be like, I can make it better.
Yeah.
Those facehuggers had claws on the sides, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of makes it go, they wouldn't be able to pull it. When that thing grabbed anyone, like when they were running in the water, it had claws on its fingers. It would have, it's not letting go. So it didn't, you put claws on it to make it scary looking, but then you have it not ever use the claws in action. Again, I go, bad design choice. You don't show it if you're not going to use it. And if you're going to use it, then fucking use it. Because even when they pulled it off her head, she didn't have because remember, the dog had the scars on its face. Kane didn't, right?
Kane looked fine.
Some of the people in Aliens, I think they might have showed a little bit, but she would have had, especially because she was shaved head, they would have shown all these pock marks from the things just grabbing onto her. They didn't do any of that. So why do that? To make it scary. Stupid. But I will say the facehugger in the water, that's your resurrection callback, right?
Yeah.
But the better resurrection callback is that human baby thing at the end.
Yeah.
That thing was like, oh, we're doing this again. Holy shit, right? So while I thought when I was watching it, I was laughing at the water, little did I know, no, we're saving the real resurrection callback for way later. What do you think that thing wanted? It seemed passive in a way. Was it just doing your zombie bear story of it just wants to fucking eat?
I don't know.
Because it seemed very I'm a baby, and it was looking at her, and I thought maybe it wasn't going to get violent, but then it got violent.
I did make this argument, or not an argument, but whatever, when we did our marathon podcast. Because James Cameron's Aliens is synchrosynced, right? We get that and all that kind of stuff. But I was playing devil's advocate to an extent and saying it's not as synchrosynced as you think, because there are there's a whole contingent of people that the first movie is so pure. They didn't like the second one because it turned them into an ant colony, right? But if you think about the way the xenomorph acts in the first movie, there's all kinds of weird intelligence and so I'm not giving Romulus credit in that regard, but I am saying that, like, what I like about the original film is how much I'm like, I have no idea what this thing is thinking.
I think it's really interesting if you could really put yourself in a place where you go, like, imagine you haven't seen any other movies and you just have Alien and you haven't expanded on the universe at all. It really is like that. What the fuck is this thing?
Yeah,
and
that's why it was so effective.
The secrecy does, or it does kind of get taken away as we learn more. But as we learn more, it becomes a more interesting creature.
Yeah,
and less of a scary horror.
Right.
You know, like Friday the 13th, where it's
because,
like he's not real.
It could have just killed everyone, but instead it was like it was opportunistic. It took people where it could.
Yeah.
It didn't kill everybody right away.
It was building its own hive.
You could just say it was a happy accident that it like happened to go into the escape pod.
Oh.
Or like
it's
thing's smarter than you think it is.
Okay, we all know Earth War. It was communicating with the Queen. That's telepathically somewhere in the universe. It's the Big Mama. She's
bigger
also
than more of a stylish thing, but there's shots in that first movie. There's the one where it's just kind of like,
yeah, I know.
And I'm just like, what is that?
Right.
Like, and then also like when it's killing Veronica Cartwright and Parker. It's like toying. It's like slow with the thing. Like it has like a fucked up kind of almost.
Well, it's because it's phallic and all that stuff. I mean,
I know that's the movie reason.
Yes,
but when you start like actually ascribing like science to it, I'm just saying like I don't know what that thing is. Like I don't know how you.
I'm trying to think. Is there any other movie where there's a monster of sort or some kind of it's like Paranormal Activity? Like you don't know what it wants.
That's true.
And it wants her, but like that's.
But what does that mean? And like,
that's scary. And then if you were to go like, well, really, it's the ghost of a person who died in the house. Like, it's just it's kind of like where I always go back to, you know, the worst things in the world. Like, it's just a man. Even if he's a terrible person, even if he's a serial rapist, murderer, it's gonna cut your skin off. It's just a man.
Yeah.
It's when it's like it's not a man. In Alien, you don't even a psychopath might have no like emotion or reason. You can't, you know, they're gone, but they're still human. But they don't tie in. An alien, an alien being, you don't know the motivation. You have no idea. Like, that's scarier. And then they're an ant colony. It's like, okay,
that's my point.
They're just bugs.
But I'm not, like, I love aliens.
Or you get a bug hunt. Get some Arcturian poontang. What the fuck is Arcturian poontang? Is that an alien?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like, yeah, exactly.
Mass Effect. It's all Mass Effect. It's create androids. Androids destroy the people that created them, and they create their own android that's better than them, and they become xenomorphs.
All right, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry. I'm tired.
Just trying to think. Is there anything that... What do you think about the facehuggers, CGI facehuggers, as swarming?
Well, they're fine.
Okay. I didn't like that it was already looks CG at that point. I was enjoying the, like, you know, in the water.
It's fun to have a shot.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the fact the android, the flipping of...
It's going bad, good.
I mean, I guess
it made sense to me.
I guess it's like I said, creating your own movie. It's kind of sucky when you're like, I already know what's happening and I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The old version's gonna come back and save her. And it just sucks because like I already know it's. Yeah. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good on that part. But
again, it was just trying to be more of a crowd pleasing.
Yeah.
Kind of movie. Again, in contrast to like Covenant, you're like, that's David. That's not Walter. What's he gonna? And now what's he? He has 2,000 colonists. Oh my god! You know what I mean? Like that was such a good.
Yeah, I should go back and watch those. I gotta finish watching Two Champions of Shaolin though. I got real movies to watch.
I understand.
I have real films to watch.
If you ever get to watching Covenant, one thing I want you to think about too is like, because I didn't really like the xenomorph itself. Like that was kind of my least favorite. I'm like, oh, and now we're gonna do the fan service part.
I thought it looked great.
It did look great. Covenant. And watching it again, I'm getting. Well, my point right now is that I'm reappraising it because at first I was just like, no, I like that you guys were original. Now you're using the music from the original Alien. The score in Prometheus is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I like Alien Covenants. I remember because I was hearing. Is it Jerry Goldsmith? No, that's
Jerry.
Or is that the person who did Rocky?
No, it's Jerry Goldsmith. No, Rocky's Belcanti.
Yeah, right. Sorry. I remember I was hearing those fan service, but not too. I was hearing it when they go through space. You're like, oh, I kind of heard a couple notes.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's recurring. They do it a few times. Fine, whatever. Anyway, so I didn't jive with the xenomorph like right away. This time I did. because whoever animated all that stuff, they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think it looked great.
But one of the things that I really liked, like kind of thrilled me or whatever.
So excited about it.
I know, because it was a good movie. I'm like reappraising these things quite a bit. So when it turns into like an action film, and it's the ship that they bring down that's not really meant for that, and then they're all like dangling off of it, and
you know,
that
the cargo ship type thing.
But there's where she takes the
claw,
crane arm claw thing, and there's a very brief moment, and I really liked it because it initially, maybe when I watched it, I don't think I thought this, but somebody could have said like, what are the fucking chances that thing is so fast, so strong, and it can climb around, do all those fucking things, that she would be able to like just catch it with like a thing.
Right.
She doesn't catch it. That thing attacks it. That's just cool.
Yeah.
That was like that, just the behavioral kind of thing. That's just like this, and then David says like, oh, it's a new strain, highly aggressive, or he says something about that. I'm like, that thing is so fucking aggressive that it was just like, oh, you're challenging me? I don't care if you're 10 times bigger than me. Fuck you! And like he starts like biting it, and that's like how she actually gets. I have no point, just that I appreciate it.
It's kind of funny that I was just looking at it. That it's not Walter. It's so depressing.
I know.
Because you like
I
Walter.
really like Walter. Yeah.
What about? I was gonna ask you about the. So, with all these, callbacks and have you noticed that? So Ripley, Alien specifically, and Alien. She had a flamethrower in the first one, right?
No.
She wasn't clear.
Well, I think in the deleted scene.
She's walking with it when she goes to the rescue ship. Is she carrying a flamethrower?
You remember the movie?
It's kind of because I know my brain. I can see her blasting the flamethrower in when she's going to save Newt. She's clearing the hallway first to make sure it's safe. But I feel like she had one in the first one. They were getting tanks, weren't they? Isn't that what Parker and what's her face were doing?
They were getting
oxygen stuff, right? For the
it had nothing to do with flamethrowers. I don't think she has a flamethrower in the first one.
What, does she have anything?
I think she has a flamethrower.
The plasma.
I swear to God, we're actually fans.
It's like a plasma, like is what it's used for mining, right? It's some kind of like plasma cutter. It's kind of like not Dead Space, but sorry. How much is this more of a Dead Space movie? Mine is still like, because I replayed the Dead Space remake recently. As I was watching this, I was like, this is a Dead Space. Like, this is more Dead Space than Alien. If you take away the psychological shit of like fucking your mind, I'm like, Fede Alvarez should have just made a Dead Space movie.
He should have.
Because his practical effects, monster shit. I can imagine shooting limbs off with the plasma.
Yeah.
He should have made a Dead Space movie instead of Alien.
Would make a fucking baller Dead Space movie.
All the best parts of this were the stuff that wasn't Alien.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember watching going, this is fucking Dead Space. This looks great.
Even have the miners.
I'm telling you, that was actually, anyways, maybe he played that, who knows. But, so she has a flamethrower in the first movie.
We'll just say she does.
She does.
I don't think she did.
She has one in the second one, obviously. I'm going to go find out
in the
tonight.
second one, yeah.
There's fire in the third one. They try to drop hot lead and then dropping fire. The fourth one has a flamethrower because we did that video.
She blows up all the tanks,
right? Is there any flamethrowers in either two? Prometheus? They don't matter, but I don't think there is.
Yes, in Prometheus there is.
I thought so, right?
Charlize Theron uses it
to burn Charlie. Is his name?
I can't remember.
I think his name's Charlie. So we have all this fan service, all these callbacks in Romulus. She uses an ice gun, which is the exact opposite of all the flamethrowers we've seen for all this time. They're like, how do we change that? And that's fan service. If you got to get rid of all the dumb shit that I didn't like, you go, they do fire, she does ice. That'd be fun. It'd be cool, right? But they ruined so many other things that like it. That on its own is actually a really good point. If that was the biggest point you could show and not have all the other things, I thought it was really cool that like, we're doing the opposite. You can't fight it with fire, you're fighting it with ice. It's like a magic movie or something, you know? I guess there's nothing else that happens.
Yeah, I'm good.
Is there anything particular scene in the movie that you... okay, where did you go pee? What are the times you went pee? What was...
I went pee and missed the... I saw the cocoon already existing, and then the guy like, what the fuck? And then start fucking with it with the cattle prod.
Right.
So I saw that. But I missed whatever
Did you see him die?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you missed before that.
Yes.
Okay, that was just that's not much.
I left. I don't.
I'm just curious if I can fill any blanks for you.
I can't. I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay. All right. Well, no after scenes, no after credit scenes, Every time I go to a movie,
there shouldn't be any. It's not a fucking Marvel.
I know
movie.
that, but I always at the end of the movie, the credits start rolling. I go, I didn't check to see if there's this. I have to do it on my phone.
Everybody does that.
She goes off to live her life in the free colonies with her android friend. That's not allowed, or they.
So, all right, I have some ways to kind of wind this down. So, would you want to see any more with those two?
No,
we're done with.
That's the whole point. Because if you were go back to my sequel intro, right? What are we doing? And we're just doing. Oh, now Sigourney's on it. Let's pick. We had Shaw. Yeah. You thought she was going to be the hero, and then we killed her. Yeah. No, this is supposed to be a one-off movie, and it should only be a one-off movie.
I am on team. Hopefully, this drums up enough interest to get David back. That's all I care about right now.
How old is Ridley Scott?
I don't know, but this has got to. I want to let him finish. Let's just let him fucking finish. That's what. That's where I'm at.
Paradise, right?
Yeah. I think take Back to the Engineers. Go find the engineer home planet, like Shaw wanted to do.
Yeah, I would. Okay. I said this with somebody on Twitter when...
David's actually the main character of that franchise.
Well, obviously. He's only the through line. See, you find something and you go, oh, the sequel's actually based around a different character. You know, John Wick 5 gets announced with Keanu Reeves. Now, and most people are like, I don't just hear things and go like, Bleh! Keanu Reeves might barely be in it. He might even be a flashback, you know, right? It could not even be
the man's getting old. Let him retire.
That too. I mean, Jesus. But like, we don't know that Keanu Reeves has come back for another actual John Wick. Could be anything. But you know, there didn't even need to be John Wick 4. But I liked what 4 did in certain ways.
Yeah.
3
need to be anything. Great. Yeah. I was down for another round.
Yeah, because it just had some really interesting stuff. And 3 was like whatever.
Big ass staircase fight and the.
I guess I'm just thinking of Donnie Yen and stuff.
Fire rounds and top down video game level scene and.
It's just that certain things were overboard. But like, okay, I'm like, okay, we're done. Please, we're done. I love John Wick. I love the first one.
I'll take another one.
But you know, in your heart of hearts, no matter how much later you make another John Wick, even if it's like the review's like it's terrible, you're gonna go see it.
Of course I am.
You need to go see it, right?
Yeah.
So, Ridley Scott makes his another god-awful... No, I can't say that because the other ones aren't god-awful. He makes this, like, piece of in terms of box office return and what general audiences think, Prometheus and Covenant are bullshit, right? They don't fit in. They're fucking weird. But if they make another one, you're like, I'm going to go see it. And like, I'm going to be first in line to see it. Because even if it's bad, I don't give a shit. I just want to know.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. Like, I just want to know. But also, I'll see every Predator movie and every Alien movie. Of
course.
Even if they're terrible.
Don't forget.
I don't hate Romulus. I hate the decisions.
I don't think...
I know. I
sitting next to you, I'm telling you, I don't.
I know you don't, but I'm the one who comes off just complaining constantly. I'm complaining because I wanted something better.
No, I know.
But it was okay.
I didn't even think this was good cop, bad cop. It was just kind of like good cop and like disgruntled cop.
I'm getting older.
Yeah.
And I'm getting annoyed by things that stop pandering to younger audiences because they don't give a shit.
This is really soft.
Again, what Mike said, Red Letter Media. Why put Ash in it? The only people who are going to know who Ash is if they're over 40 years old. Who cares?
Yeah. Except Jessica's seen Alien maybe twice in her life, and she was like, "Oh, the guy."
Right, but did it enhance the viewing?
She said that it did. That's what I'm saying. It's hard.
You also could yell. You could also complain a lot about what movies she might like or dislike or whatever. So it's not.
I want to say as a way to maybe cap this off. Don't forget, we have a whole ass TV show coming.
That's a thing, huh?
It's happening.
Stop playing with the cord. Sorry, I'm afraid so. Yeah,
That's not even like it's happening.
This is longer than a podcast.
Yeah.
This should have just been us at a table. I don't even know why we filmed this. Okay. We're gonna call it. We talked about things I had no idea we were gonna talk about.
I told you.
I thought we were gonna just talk about the movie, but holy shit,
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it, dude.
It's okay. I actually enjoy it.
I want to thank Romulus because Romulus it wasn't like I'm gonna watch every Alien movie. Like I didn't do that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to compare Romulus to like all the Alien movies.
I didn't watch anything ahead of time either.
But what it did do is make me just as soon as they threw the black goo in there again, I was like, oh, you motherfuckers! You're gonna send me back to.
And it's weird.
The Ridley Scott prequels.
I don't want to watch Prometheus again. I've seen it enough times.
Watch Covenant.
But I do kind of want to watch parts of Covenant again.
Yeah.
But I don't want to watch the good parts. I want to watch the fun parts.
That's whatever.
I don't know. Whatever. Again, 2 Champions of Shaolin. More important things. I gotta watch Bittersweet.
Aliens versus Avengers. Go support your local comic book shop.
Do that. I don't think you need to buy that, but you need to go support your local comic book shop.
In every which way you can. There's all kinds of Aliens comics.
This is crazy. I can't. So I thank you, Ryan. because I didn't know we were going to have this conversation. This is the conversation that you just have when we're just
I know,
arguing.
that's why I said, like, when you feel weird about this, we're just talking. Bring back David. That's all I care.
Yeah, good night.
All right.
Hey, we're on the couch now.
Now we're on the couch. Want to make
Why
out?